Well, what is up, YouTube Nation, and welcome into Skap Live After Dark. I, of course, am your host, Skap, and I am joined, as I am always joined, seemingly, with Gary, the moderator. Moderator Gary, what is
sir.
shaking? Good evening to you, sir.
Hold on. Sorry, I got an echo there. Okay. I had to mute you on my second tab. Listen, man, we got a lot to get to. Tyrese Haliburton, insane game winner tonight. Unfortunately, Steph Curry goes down with a hamstring injury. Warriors are dominating the Timberwolves, and Ant-Man started out ice cold, 0 for 10, but is now warming up. Can he bring the Timberwolves back? We keep seeing these huge comebacks. Can the Timberwolves come back tonight?
Well, Gary, and well, YouTube Nation, and well, Skap Live participants here after dark in the lounge. Yes, we will be taking you to the conclusion tonight of this game. Warriors and Timberwolves, just checking the score right now. The Warriors are absolutely laying it on the Minnesota Timberwolves, up by 21 right now, nearing the end of the third quarter. There's 29 seconds left in this game. And this is an absolutely shocking turn of events in this one. The Warriors have been in command from start to finish, despite the fact that Timberwolves have, just been resting for days, awaiting Golden State, while Golden State was pushed. Golden State, the older team, mind you, pushed to a decisive 7-game series with the Houston Rockets. And yet, here Golden State is. They came out with much more punch and energy than Minnesota. They've been in command from the start. But Steph Curry then pulled up lame nearing the end of the first half, and he was quickly ruled out, which you have to hate the looks of that if you're a Golden State Warriors fan. He was ruled out quickly at halftime, will not return. We will have to keep an eye out to see how many games potentially he may miss. Some kind of a hamstring strain, and that does not sound good for his long-term outlook in this series. But it doesn't really matter because the Warriors are now up 23. At least it doesn't matter in this game because they are up 23 points. Make that 20 now on the Timberwolves. And I really am growing. I'm just so utterly tired of Anthony Edwards, the Ant Edwards narrative that this guy is, the face of the league, maybe the best player in the league. There are far too many games just like this one that we're seeing unfold right before our eyes tonight. He right now is sitting at 10 points on 4 of 15 shooting. I believe he was 0 of 8 at halftime for 1 point. So this is just an absolutely abysmal no-show by Anthony Edwards. But again, this is nothing new. And Edwards comes with a lot of these kinds of games, and he typically, at least the last 2 seasons, has been getting bailed out by his team. Unfortunately for him, though, and for the Timberwolves, that is not the case tonight. But this is just an inexcusably bad look for the Minnesota Timberwolves and for their alleged best player, Anthony Edwards, to be down 20 points in a game to a team that was coming off of virtually no rest with their best player out since the first half. Inexcusable look for them. We'll see if they can rebound for the rest of the series, but, we'll keep an eye on tonight's game too. I would not bank on them coming back, though. Down 20 right now officially at the end of the third quarter. So that is where we are in that game.
Cold Snap just said in the chat that Minnesota was 1 for 20 from 3. Now they're 2 for 21. Can you guys stop taking so many threes? It's cool to take threes if you're hot. But if you're not, take it to the hole. Play a mid-range game.
Yeah, this is and look, we saw the same thing last night in the Boston game, and their continued reluctance to do anything, any semblance of attacking the basket whatsoever. Just 1 3-point shot chuck after the next. They took 60 last night, missed 45, both of those NBA records. And Minnesota, they do the same thing. I think they shot 47 last game in the elimination game against the Lakers in Game 5. 47 3-pointers. They made 7 of them. And again, they have rim attackers like elite all world caliber rim attackers like Ant Edwards. Do something else. Get it going in some other way. I just don't understand, who sold a bill of goods and there's some kind of manifesto for these guys to just jack threes never endingly. So, like I said, we'll keep an eye on this game, and we'll be talking about this game through the conclusion of it. We can kind of talk about that maybe in the post game, but I also want to touch on Gary, moderator, and the rest of Skap Live After Dark. I also want to touch on what the hell is happening over in the Eastern Conference with the number 1 seed Cleveland Cavaliers. And quite frankly, it is a sad sight to behold. I feel so utterly terrible for Cleveland, who, has been waiting for this moment for what seems like years for them to have like this good of a team, this good of a look at potentially winning something, anything. And they get the 1 seed. They were the 1 seed in the whole NBA for like half the year before the Thunder kind of wrestled that away from them down the stretch. But 64 wins for them. And they dropped game 1 as they were without Darius Garland, an injury that was obviously affecting them. He was sorely missed in that game 1. But tonight, Donovan freaking Mitchell, Spider Mitchell, comes out with just a game for the ages, just when his team needs it most. 48 points for this guy. He was plus 13 on the game, easily led his team, and it was the second best plus minus for the entire game on either team. Miles Turner's plus 15 on the Pacers was the only one that was better. Mitchell played an outright heroic game. 15 of 30 in this game. Like I said, 48 points, 9 assists, and 5 rebounds. Did absolutely everything he had to do, everything he could do for the just impossibly shorthanded Cleveland Cavaliers, who were without 3 key contributors, DeAndre Hunter, Evan Mobley, and still missing Darius Garland. So 2 starters and 1 key reserve player. So desperately shorthanded Cleveland Cavaliers team. And Mitchell does everything he can, and they just collapse down the stretch. An 8-0 run in the final minute by the Indiana Pacers, and just really inexcusable closing there. An inexcusable close to the game by the Cleveland Cavaliers in turning the inbound pass over with under a minute. It leads to, Haliburton attacked the rim, got fouled. He got 2 free throws, missed the second one, got his own rebound. How you let a slender little guard come crash in, rebound his own missed free throw, get it, he backs it out and takes the absolute dagger 3-pointer, makes it with 1.1 seconds left to go up 1. And that, as they say, was all there is. The Cleveland Cavaliers now shockingly in an 0-2 hole to the Indiana Pacers, who just get more luck, more fortuitous luck for them for a second year in a row. Indiana, who's like the 4th or 5th best team in this conference for back-to-back years, looks like they might be punching their second consecutive Eastern Conference ticket on basically the back of just injuries, because I think it's pretty plain and simple to see that that the Cleveland Cavaliers would be, at the very least, split 1-1, and more than likely it would be up 2-0 in my estimation if they didn't have all these injuries. But, coulda, woulda, shoulda. They do have the injuries. It's part of the game. And the Indiana Pacers look like they're going to luck out for a second year in a row. And I just feel really badly for Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. I feel like Reggie Miller's coming back to Indiana and Haliburton. And I'm just disheartened, because all year we were waiting to see, can Cleveland, do they have a slight shot at possibly winning this year? Because they look like it in spurts. And now, what do they have? 3 injuries tonight? It was Mobley, Garland.
Yeah, Hunter, Mobley, and Garland. So, again, those are key players. Evan Mobley, like the best defensive player, basically. And a starter, and obviously Darius Garland, they're the head of the snake, if you will, their point, and then key reserve DeAndre Hunter. So, I mean, these are like 3 of their top 7 players that they're without. And it just looks like Indiana is just, again, I'm sick. I don't mind seeing upsets and seeing teams advance past better teams, but I just want to see it straight up. I hate to see injuries be the main
Right.
residing factor that gets that advancement. So, and I just want to see, like, I'm greedy and I'm selfish. I want to see the best play the best. And
Right.
in my opinion, the best two teams in the East are Cleveland and Boston. I've been, drooling over this potential matchup all year long, and now it looks like we're going to come up shy of it because of the injury bug. So, I'm just kind of sick right now for Cleveland. I feel so badly for them, and but still, you got to tip your hat to Haliburton. He's been magnificent in essentially back-to-back, really clutch. I mean, we saw a huge comeback for Indiana to eliminate the Milwaukee Bucks, who the Bucks they had every opportunity to win that game, and they could not do it either. So, kudos to Indiana. These teams are kind of collapsing in the final moments, but Indiana is capitalizing. They're walking through the door that's been left open for them by either teams choking or by injuries. In this case, it's a bit of both for Cleveland, but it does look like that is an insurmountable hole. Look, Cleveland is by far the better team. If those three players just miraculously return healthy for the remainder of the season, I would not rule out them winning 4 out of the next 5. Right. But I mean, Indiana gets 3 of those 5 games in Indiana. So it is just very difficult just to overcome an 0-2 hole in general, but more specifically when you have lost the first 2 games at home. Like, very rare that a team can overcome this, but we'll see. Last year, the Nuggets went down 0-2 to the Timberwolves in the semifinals at home, and they were getting absolutely destroyed in that series. And then the Nuggets went on the road, won 2 games, came back in game 5, went up 3-2, but then they ultimately did lose the series anyway. Yeah. So, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye, like I said, on this game that is underway. It is, coming maybe to a conclusion here. We have 9.5 minutes left. Warriors, Timberwolves. It is now a 15-point game. So the Warriors are on a little 8-3 run to start the fourth quarter and chip into that, what was a 20-point lead at the end of the third, cutting it to 15. So we'll see again, no Steph Curry for the second half of tonight, and presumptively no Steph Curry for the foreseeable future in this series moving forward. And, we'll see if the Warriors, though, can steal game 1. They were, I believe, 7-point underdogs at tip here. But Anthony Edwards is playing a minuscule, pitiful game. 4 of 15, just 10 points for him. And again, as I said in the open, this is unfortunately nothing surprising, nothing new for Ant-Man, who has all the talent in the world, who flashes signs of greatness, who flashes the potential of being like a handful, one of the 3 best players in the NBA. But there are just so many of these baffling games where he plays so utterly tiny. And like I said, in the last 2 years, roughly, by and large, he's been bailed out series after series after series. We'll see if it happens again tonight, and if the Timberwolves can somehow have a miraculous comeback with no Steph Curry there, Gary. But welcome into everybody on the chat now. And Gary, do we have actually, before we start off, any questions tonight? And I will be updating this score as we go here throughout the final stages of this fourth quarter tonight. But before we get into anything chat-wise this evening, I did want to start out just recognizing if you were with us in the Skap Live After Dark Lounge last night, Gary, what was that, night 4? Tonight is officially night 5.
Tonight is.
So we've got the 5th straight night of Skap Live After Dark underway right now, 11:44 on the East Coast. And hopefully these guys are with us, because when I signed out last night, I was pretty spent last night, physically, emotionally. And I was trying to desperately get out around, it was like 2 a.m. After that Nuggets game last night. And the 2 super chats did come in after, like, I signed out and I ended the live stream. So I wanted to begin the night giving a shout out, because these are 2 Skap Live After Dark members. Sir. John Ratcliffe and Islam sent in some sponsorships to the Skap Live After Dark area after I'd signed out. John, what did John have to say there, Gary?
When you hit 100,000 subscribers, take some Saber Red to the eyes.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, Gary. I don't wear glasses or contacts or anything. Can you explain to me, because I see you are a glasses wearer. What is Saber Red? Is that some kind of a does that help
I actually am new to glass. I've had perfect vision until a couple years ago. I only wear readers. I don't have prescription glasses. I only put on glasses while I'm reading something. And I'm actually not sure what that means either, but I thought maybe Saber had something to do with Star Wars, as he wants you to put the red glowing effect into your eyes.
I don't think so. Let me read through this here. I think this is probably something for like eye strain or eye soreness. And John is consistently trying to keep me up as late as possible, send me as many super chats as possible so that I can never sign off. And I believe that was probably a reference to that more than likely. And then Islam, been a subscriber for a while. Keep up the work. Islam, thank you very much for that. I do appreciate you and your continued support here of Skap Live After Dark.
Skap, I think we may have some clarity. Troll, ironically, in the chat says he thinks it's a pepper spray. So John wants you to take some pepper spray to the. We're not doing a pepper spray to the eyes challenge here.
Yeah. No, I'll rule that out, John. There will be no pepper spraying of my eyes.
Thanks to Troll for the
when I get in there. And we do have some comments, I think, Gary, but I do just want to touch on this game because we're back. It's a 15-point game still. Minnesota has been showing some life in this one. And but Anthony Edwards is still 4 of 15 for 10 points. And I just want to touch on what I've been talking about with Anthony Edwards and his continued antics. I think Anthony Edwards gets more passes than anybody in the NBA. This guy has as good of a team as anybody has in the entire league surrounding him. He has a stellar coach. He has, to me, an elite lineup, one of the best lineups top to bottom in the NBA. He's got a veteran point guard, floor general, and Mike Conley. He's got last year's sixth man of the year in Naz Reid, who I think is still probably the best sixth man in the NBA this season. He's got a stud defensive, like do everything type combo wing in Jaden McDaniels, who has been massive in playoff games throughout last year and this year. He's got Julius Randle, who is kind of like a fringe, perennial all-star kind of player. He's got 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert. Like, what more does this guy need? Minnesota is one of the best teams in the entire NBA, one of the best rosters top to bottom, and yet they continue to underachieve during the regular season. The 6th seed this year out west, and then they were lucky to beat the Lakers in 5 with some of the games that Anthony Edwards laid down last round. What am I talking about? How about an 8 of 22 game 1? 22 points in game 1 on 8 of 22, and yet the Timberwolves absolutely worked the Lakers. He comes back the next night, a mediocre game in game 2, 10 of 22 for 25 points. Then, he scores 29 the next game, but on 12 of 26. Then he has his one really big transcending game, which he has one great game, and all of a sudden the media is losing their damn minds about this guy and talking about face of the NBA, where he had 43 points on 12 of 23. But then he comes back in the elimination game, game 5 against the Lakers, and they get the win against the Lakers despite him, 15 points on 5 of 19 shooting and 0 of 11 from the three-point line. This is pervasive. He did it. He vanished routinely last year in that Nuggets series, and they still get the win because he gets carried by his teammates. And yet still, this guy is continually lifted up and hoisted up as one of these elite players in the NBA, like maybe the best player in the NBA. And it's happening again right now as we speak. The Timberwolves, there's still 7 minutes to go in this game. They're on a 15-5 run to open the fourth quarter. It's now just a 10-point game. So, oh boy, here we go. maybe he's about to squeak out like another game here.
Skap,
In which he does not deserve to be in at all. But again, the Warriors lose their best player in the first half. So maybe they're going to get lucky and he's going to escape here. And if he does, let me guarantee you it's going to happen. He's going to be strutting all over the court, pumping his chest, like just acting like a damn fool, like a classless fool, despite the fact like he's played like a chump for the vast majority of this game and he doesn't deserve to be in this game at all. So spare me the antics. Hopefully, if they come back and win this game, he won't because he's to me a classless player. But anyway, I just had to get that off my chest, Gary Monterey.
Okay, but let's put this in context. He started out ice cold 0 for 10. He's been 6 of 7 ever since. He's warming up, and this is what really good players can do is they can start out cold, but then they can overcome that and turn it on in the clutch. Let's see. He's got the ball. Well, I'm on a time delay. I think you're ahead of me. But
again, 5 of 19, 15 points on 0 of 11 3-point shooting in the Game 5 closeout game last round against the Lakers. Gary, that is not warming up or getting clutch.
No, I'm saying tonight. Let's see if he gets clutch, because we've seen how these teams have been coming back like crazy the last few days. I'm just saying it's possible. Minnesota.
Let me also to echo my point from last year, please. The 4-3 comeback against the the 4-3. They were down 3-2.
Right.
And they came back to win that series ultimately in 7 games. And in the 7th game, where they closed Denver out in Denver, Anthony Edwards was 6 of 24 for 16 points in the game. And in the 4th quarter, when it matters most, when he should have been heating up, he had 3 points on 1 of 8.
Right.
And yet his team gets the win. His team carries him in that game. And like a classless scrub, he's on the court acting like a damn fool, talking trash talking trash on fans. I don't care if you're going to do that shit. When you're backing it up and when you are the man, when you're the man and you're acting like it and you're strutting around and you're doing those kind of histrionics and stuff, awesome. Like I love when guys are cocky and arrogant and back it up and then tell people about it. But don't come out here and go 6 of 24 and 1 of 8 in the 4th quarter and then act like you're the preeminent shit. Like get out of my face. Like put your head down and like go congratulate your teammates for carrying your ass, which is what basically the Timberwolves have been doing for him all night long. Yes, he has been much better after the first half. A first half that they shouldn't have even been in the game, though. They had 31 points, Gary, at the end of the first half. They should have been down an astronomical amount of points there. But again, the defensive unit of his team just kind of held them into it. So I'm just getting more and more annoyed with Anthony Edwards and his antics.
I'm not even disagreeing.
I just needed to get that off of my chest, Gary, in the Skap Live after.
I'm not even disagreeing about Anthony Edwards' inconsistency. What I'm trying to do is get excited for a potential crazy ending to the game. That's what I'm hoping for. So I'm just pointing out he's warmed up after going 0 for 10. He's 6 of 7. So I'm saying maybe we'll have another exciting ending, which is what I'm hoping for. So that's what I'm pointing out.
Well, we'll see. There's 5:18 left. It's now a 14-point lead still for Golden State. And Buddy Hield has really been carrying them in the second half. For the second game basically in a row. He was massive in that game 7 when literally everybody else was struggling. So we'll keep an eye on this. We talked a little bit about the Pacers game and the Cavaliers, which Donovan Mitchell has had kind of a history of some crazy playoff performances and crazy playoff games. And I think Mitchell Gary Moderator, I think he kind of gets lost from time to time in the pantheon of other great players in the NBA. Mitchell is always kind of, I think, a bit of a forgotten man, and I think he's a great player. And I, for one, think he played a fantastic game tonight. I'm just heartbroken and devastated for the city of Cleveland and for Donovan Mitchell, who Gary, Donovan Mitchell has been an all-star. Oh boy, Gary, he's a 6-time All-Star and All-NBA second team member in one of these years as well in his career. He is a 25 point per game career scorer and a 28 point per game playoff scorer. How about that, Gary? I bet a lot of people would not guess that Donovan Mitchell was such an elite career playoff scorer, but he is. And,
how many points? 28?
Say it again.
Did you say 28 points per game?
27.9 point per game.
Wow.
Playoff scorer, Gary. Yeah. What do you think about that?
I think he's underrated. I think probably his personality is just laid back and quiet. He's not really in your face. So he can do really well in the games, but you just don't hear a lot about him. I guess also because he hasn't really played on any teams yet that made a lot of noise in the playoffs. So I think that's why he's often forgotten. And I admit myself, I haven't really watched him a lot. I've just seen highlights, and he is really good.
Yeah. What do you think about this? Here's a trivia point for you guys out there in Skap, the Skap After Dark live area. Donovan Mitchell, 27.88 points per game, career scoring average postseason, is a shade below Devin Booker and a shade below LeBron James. So LeBron James is 6th all-time in point per game scoring in the NBA playoffs, followed closely by Booker and then followed closely by Mitchell. So, no one would really believe that Donovan Mitchell was at that level. Right. Here's a couple guys that he scores more than in his playoff career on average. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Steph Curry. So that is what we're talking about when we're talking about the great Donovan Mitchell. And he showed up tonight with a 48 spot and 9 assists when his team needed it most, but they just couldn't get it over the hump because of those 3 key players they were missing to injury. Devastatingly, they fall into that 0-2 hole. And actually, I do want to get to Stephanie here, Gary, because I feel so badly for Cleveland and I feel so badly for Stephanie, who is a Cavs fan.
Avs, thank you, Stephanie. Avs, a Cavs fan. Help me, Skap. Help me.
Stephanie, welcome to the Skap Live After Dark Lounge, and I wish I could help you. I myself have been rooting all year long because I thought that Boston was going to be the team ultimately to emerge from the Eastern Conference and push the Thunder the most any team would be able to in the NBA Finals. But I certainly was open to the idea of Cleveland maybe being able to push Boston because those two teams did split in the regular season, and Cleveland is a great team when they have their full complement of players. Unfortunately, Stephanie, I don't have the ability to wave the magical wand and heal those 3 guys and get them back and healthy in this series. This would be a different outlook to me, even with those injuries, had they closed the game tonight. But I mean, there's just there's no way you can justify the turnover, then allowing Tyrese Haliburton to crash the offensive glass on his own missed rebound and then back that out and take that game-winning 3. That was just an absolute dagger through the heart of poor Stephanie here and through the entire city of Cleveland. Stephanie, despite the fact that you're in mourning tonight, I do just want to thank you for coming out in the Skap Live After Dark area and sponsoring the session here. So we do appreciate you, Stephanie, and I'm pulling for you guys to have a miraculous comeback out there.
Okay, and I just looked up something to add to Shay's comment here. Thank you for the super chat. Hamstrings need months to recover. Ask Magic at 89. Let me throw this in because the first thing I thought about was Tony Parker in the 2013 playoffs, and I just looked it up. Spurs' Tony Parker says sore hamstring can tear anytime. Yes, Tony Parker suffered a hamstring injury during the 2013 NBA playoffs. He had a right hamstring strain. While it's described as a grade 1 strain, Parker was concerned it would worsen. He stated that the injury was not as bad as a similar injury he had. Okay, that's a little later. Okay, so he had during the 2013 NBA Finals, which was a grade 2 strain. So Tony Parker was playing in the 2013 NBA Finals with a grade 2 strain. So that's kind of something that maybe we can compare and find out what Steph's injury is.
Well, yeah, there's differing grades. I'm not a doctor. Skap Live After Dark lounge here. I am not a doctor. I do not play one on YouTube nor on TV. But you know, there's various grades of strains, which would dictate how long someone generally misses. But I do know this just from a vast and extensive past of watching all kinds of sports and hearing about injury updates and so forth. Generally, hamstring strains are not good because they do take a while to heal, and they could worsen substantially, which I think you were alluding to there. If you try to play through it and you move in the wrong way, you can worsen it substantially or tear it completely. So they'll likely probably be cautious, take a cautious approach on this Steph Curry injury, probably not rush him back at any point. But especially, I might add, if they hold on to get this game tonight, which they are up 14 still now with 3:49 left in the fourth. So you really kind of have to be feeling comfortable right now. Although with the way we've seen the comebacks this year so far at least in these last couple days, no lead is safe with no amount of time. But you probably have to start feeling pretty good about yourself if you're Golden State. So I think if stealing game 1 will remove the pressure to some degree to rush Steph back. Like if you're in the 0-1 hole now, you don't want to go down 0-2, even with the 2 games looming back in San Francisco. But getting the 1 game, I think that kind of eases the pressure and the burden of trying to have to rush Steph Curry back at some point. And, you know, they'll go, and if they steal game 2, I would imagine they likely wouldn't bring him back, for game 3. Hell, even if they lose game 2, I think more than likely the earliest, again, I said I'm not a doctor, but I am speculating here. The earliest I think that we'll see Steph Curry would be like game 4. And, you know, I think the Warriors will hope that they're 2-1 at that point. But even if they're down 2-1, the hope would be you get Curry, go 2-2, and then it's a best of 3 series. They're moving forward. So, you know, we'll keep an eye, obviously, see what the diagnosis is. I'm sure there will be imaging done tomorrow morning. And then sometime, because they're on the West Coast, a little bit later in the day, we'll probably get some kind of an indication on what's going on with that injury and what the prognosis is on Curry. But it looks pretty optimistic, although it is now a 10-point game with 3.5 minutes. So you literally, like I said, you cannot even take a breath in these games. It was just 14,
Right.
literally like seconds ago. It is now 9 with 3.5. So this is where you need playoff Jimmy to close you out. Like this is why they made the trade for Jimmy Butler. And was that Jimmy just driving in and blowing the layup there? Yes, I believe that it was. So we'll keep an eye on this action down the stretch. Butler, by the way, tonight, 6 of 18 for 17 points. So we'll keep an eye on it and kind of take us to conclusion in this game here. Ant Edwards is having a decent fourth quarter here, but is it a case of a little too late? Again, this team had 31 points, Gary, at halftime tonight. The Minnesota Timberwolves, 20 points in the first, 11 in the second, 31 for the game. Just absolutely pitiful. But Shay, thank you very much for sponsoring the sesh here. And yeah, the hamstring, you can't be feeling good about that if you're a Warriors fan on this night, even with what's looking to be probably a big game 1 win for them.
All right. 10X with a 5-piece. Thank you for that. Just because they beat LeBron doesn't mean they will beat the Warriors. Warriors in 6. Tyrese is a bad man. What a shocker. Cavs really choked at the end.
Yeah, I hate to use the term choke for Cleveland, but it's difficult to see it in really any other light. When you give up an 8-0 run in the final, I believe 49 seconds, culminating with that ridiculous, again, missed. Haliburton drives with 12 seconds left, gets fouled, makes the front end, misses the second end, and that wasn't like a strategical miss. Like you see some people like do the planned miss near the end of the game and then try to get the miss. No, there was still 12 seconds left in this game. He was trying to make that shot, I believe, and then make it a 1-point game and play it out through the free throw game at the other end. But he missed it. He gets his own rebound back, and then they give up his game-winning 3 with 1.1 seconds left. Just a devastating conclusion there. You can't really use any other terminology other than choke. So that was an absolute shocker. The only thing missing from that game for Tyrese Haliburton was his dad on the court trying to fight Donovan Mitchell. If any of you saw that funny little tiff feud with Tyrese's father and Giannis Antetokounmpo at the end of that series. And 10X, I do recognize your handle. You are you're a typical kind of a repeat sponsor here on the Skap Live After Dark Lounge. So we do appreciate that. And I actually did have the Timberwolves winning this series. I think it becomes an even more must-win series for the Timberwolves. I favored the Timberwolves before the Curry injury. Now it looks like Curry's going to miss multiple games in this one. So I don't know. We'll see. This is still a 12-point game now. We're under 2 minutes, a 2-minute stoppage in this game. So Warriors up 12 still. Keeping an eye on that one for you. But 10X, thank you very much for sliding in here to the Skap Live After Dark Lounge tonight. What else do we have? Up, Stephanie's back. Uh-oh, Gary, what's Stephanie have for us?
Stephanie, in her heartbreak, has returned with another super chat. Thank you. I can't stand the Warriors, but I hope they win the series because of the Ant BS narrative. He talks way too much and is not the face of the league. Well, I don't think he wants to be the face of the league. To his credit, he has said, I don't want that. So I think because he wants to keep talking is why he doesn't want to be the face of the league, I think.
Stephanie, thank you for coming back in. I do appreciate you being here with us this evening, despite the sorrow that you're obviously filled with following that just devastating loss for your Cavs. But I agree with you. I have to echo your commentary here. There's something I really loved. I loved Anthony Edwards into the playoffs. That first round series last year against Phoenix, where he was just so utterly dominant, and he swept the Phoenix Suns, and he played fantastic basketball in that series. And he was doing the Ant-Man antics. He was doing that suck it gesture to the crowd, but I liked that because he was dominating. But then when he went into that Denver series, he wasn't good in 3 games. He was terrible in 3 of the games last year. 3 of the 7 games, he was awful against the Denver Nuggets. And then one of those games that he was awful in was game 7. And he absolutely unequivocally got bailed out by his team. And he was still acting like just a classless bum. And then fast forward to the next series where he played against Dallas and Luka Doncic, and they got humiliated. They go into that series riding high. They go in as the overwhelming favorites in that series, and Luka humbled them, humiliated them, gentlemanly swept them. And what does Anthony Edwards do in the aftermath of them losing and getting eliminated in Game 5 last year? He walks off of the court with 45 seconds left, again, like a classless bum. Doesn't shake anybody's hand. So let's get this right. This guy is dancing all over the court, yelling at fans, talking shit to other players, acting like a clown when he gets carried to a Game 7 win against Denver. Then when he gets punked and beat down and eliminated, he then, no dancing around at half court, and like you can't even manage to go shake anybody's hand on the other team. You just slither off to the locker room afterwards. Really grew tired of Anthony Edwards last year. I ran the whole gamut of emotions last year. I loved the guy for the first 2 weeks of the playoffs, and by the end, I couldn't freaking stand him. And now he is into this. Look, I loved seeing what the Minnesota Timberwolves did to the Lakers in Series 1. Everybody that knows anything about me knows that. But I certainly did not care for some of the way that Anthony Edwards played. They basically won some of those games in spite of him. And now, again, this is a game you can say he heated up or whatever. They lost this game 97-86 at home with Steph Curry playing in 13 minutes. So a team, Minnesota, who's been resting at home, and Golden State comes in on minimal rest with an old team. Then they lose Curry after 13 minutes, and you get worked wire to wire on your home court with the better team. Some of this is incumbent on Anthony Edwards. Some of this blame has to fall on him. 23 points for him on 9 of 22 shooting tonight. 2 assists and 3 turnovers. A net -4 for the game. So, I've just grown weary of Anthony Edwards. So, Stephanie, I am with you all the way on this, and thank you again for sponsoring the Skap Live sesh tonight. We do appreciate you.
All right, we got Dylan Davis with a 5-piece. Thank you for that. Skap, you the best. Now on to business. Ever since Haliburton has been called overrated, he's been showing why he's underrated.
Yeah, I mean, Haliburton's having a pretty magnificent little playoff run right now. He was excellent in that closeout game in eliminating Giannis and the Bucks. And I, quite frankly, I'm at a loss with what I'm seeing right now. I think a good amount of it does have to do with the injuries. Unfortunately, I think that bears mention. The Darius Garland injury. He's now missed his 4th straight playoff game tonight. And the Mobley injury is just such a crucial blow to them. So, we'll have to keep a look on those injuries. But look, ultimately, you go up 2-0 and you're on the road when you go up 2-0, the massive advantage the rest of the way now for the Indiana Pacers. So, I mean, you're just going to have to ultimately tip your hat to Tyrese Haliburton, congratulate him for, what he's done in back-to-back playoff runs. I think Indiana probably would have given Boston a little bit more of a look last year had he not gotten hurt, Haliburton himself not gotten hurt in that series. So the Indiana Pacers, while they are the beneficiary of some injury luck, they also had their own bit of misfortune bit by the injury bug last year in the East Conference Finals. So we'll see. They're playing great basketball right now. I would say, they've got the advantage now moving forward in this series, and we'll see what happens in the other series, because right now Boston is down 0-1 in that one. Wouldn't that be ironic if all year long we're all awaiting, basically thinking can we just cancel the Eastern Conference playoffs? Right. Is there any way we can just forego the first 2 rounds and just jump right into the Eastern Conference Finals and get a look at this Cleveland-Boston series? Wouldn't it be hilariously ironic if for somehow New York upsets Boston and Indiana holds on there in that series and beats Cleveland, and then we get New York and Indiana, like a throwback, like a 90s type kind of series there with those 2 teams. They haven't both been relevant in the same year, and it seems like 25 years. So have to keep an eye on both of those series. But shout out to Haliburton, Dylan Davis, and shout out to you for coming in and sponsoring Skap Live After Dark. We do appreciate you.
All right. Is that Michael, or Michael 76, a 2-piece? Thank you for that. I like Anthony Edwards, but yelling, "Hey, ref!" every drive, shaking my head.
Yeah, I like Michael. I like Anthony Edwards too. I like his game. I like the way he plays. I like the way that he competes on both sides of the floor. Hold on. First time in NBA history, all 4 road teams won game 1 I believe that was just in the second round. Let me go back, and I just want game one of the division or conference semis in the same season. So history has just been made with the Golden State Warriors. Now it is a final, 99-88. We are final now, and Golden State has gone in on practically no rest and stolen game one, just like the other three teams did to begin this series, this series round. So and it's historic. We have just witnessed history here. Breaking news, and Minnesota has choked away the home court advantage in game one, again, despite Steph Curry playing in only 13 minutes. So let me just tie this in with my Cal's super chat here. Thank you very much again for that. I do like the way Anthony Edwards plays. I like his mentality. I like his arrogance. I like his alpha mindset. I like the way that he plays both sides of the ball. But what I do not care for is the way he acts two different ways, whether he wins or loses. If you want to talk the talk and be a big man when you're winning, then you got to stay there and raise your hand and take the credit and the blame and shake the hands and do it when you lose. So if you do it any other way, if you're there celebrating and acting like a fool in the wins, and then you're meekly running away and hiding and skipping post-game press conferences and not shaking hands after the game ends, then you're just a bum in my estimation. So Anthony Edwards has exhibited bummish activity, bummish tendencies throughout the course of his career to this point. He's a young kid, so look, let's give him a little bit of leeway and grace on that front. Perhaps there will be some maturation coming, but I would like to see him sit up here tonight on this post-game press conference and take full blame for the outcome of this game. Pretty much an inexcusable loss for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I guess no shame if we've seen three other teams lose at game one to open. No shame, I suppose, if you get caught here in this game. But I think when Steph Curry went out in only 13 minutes of play, I think it just became an absolutely just a must-win game for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and that just didn't happen. And Anthony Edwards is one of the primary reasons it didn't. So I'd like to see him just take some accountability because he again is the first one to dance around, pound his chest, and celebrate and win. So let's just raise your hand and take the blame now in these losses. So we'll see how Minnesota bounces back, and we can certainly unpack some of this game real fast. Mike Cal, thank you very much for stopping in. I do want to take a look at this game though, real quick before we have some other questions that have rolled in, and we will take a look at that. But again, the Golden State Warriors 99-88. That is a final. Minnesota did play a much better half in the second half, but it was a little bit too late kind of a scenario here. Golden State pieces it together, finds a way to win. That is despite, again, the big news of the night. Steph Curry looking like he will miss a couple games maybe moving forward. I don't want to speculate, but some kind of a non-contact looking hamstring strain injury that he was ruled out quickly with at halftime, did not return in the second half. But it did not matter because Golden State held on full team, kind of an effort here to get this one over the finish line. The playoff Jimmy Butler was in there with 20 points, and Buddy Hield showed up for a second consecutive game. Buddy Hield leads the team in scoring for the second straight game. Buddy Hield, 24 points tonight in the steal job of game one, leads the Warriors in scoring. He led the Warriors in scoring in game 7 against the Houston Rockets. So Buddy Hield, who was massive early on in the season, has now become massive later on in the season into these playoffs. So, just kind of, I think, an overall, I would say a shocking turn of events, but I guess we really should not be surprised. We really shouldn't be shocked by anything at this point based on what the hell we've seen in the first 3 games so far to this point, or the first 3 series to this point, with Denver shocking the Thunder in the world, Boston dropping a 20-point lead and losing to the Knicks, and now the Cavaliers in an 0-2 hole. So just down is up is down, cats and dogs, living together. It's just utter madness. in the NBA semifinals right now. So we can certainly unpack more of this as we go on here in the Skap Live After Dark lounge. If you are just joining us, welcome in to the Skap Live After Dark area. We have moderator Gary joining me, of course, your host, for the 5th consecutive night here. I'm not getting much sleep these days, but it is NBA playoff time, and I am grateful to be here live with all of you guys for a 5th consecutive night. Gary, let's get to one of our favorite contributors here. Bands Nabs is in. They have been with us, I believe, all 4 nights prior to this evening. Shout out to you for coming back in. And Gary, what does Bands Nabs have for us tonight?
Cavaliers sold their soul to a Satan to win the Adam Silver manipulated 2016 finals. They'll never win again serves them right. Yeah, that was BS the way they suspended Draymond. LeBron jumped on his head and knew what he was doing. If you recall, at the end of 3-1, he was like pushing Steph around and Steph was going at it with him. And LeBron knew he couldn't win. So he resorted to a cheap tactic, and it paid off in dividends, jumping on the back of Draymond Green's head. Draymond just punches up and happens to punch LeBron's groin, and then he's suspended. Bogut goes down, and the series quickly went downhill.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's hard. It's hard, moderator Gary, for me to feel overly poorly for or feel bad for Draymond Green, who brings these kinds of things on himself with his classless antics, classless play. So look, this guy was just basically every guy's groin region, their undercarriage area, the below the belt realm there for Draymond Green. Like, for whatever reason, this guy's just throwing hands, feet, and whatever he can at people's groins.
You recall the play?
What's that?
Do you recall the play?
I do, yeah.
This was the only time I've ever seen where he was justified, because LeBron literally, he was on the ground, like on all fours, and LeBron sat on the top of his head. This was the only time Draymond
Here's the problem, though. When you display the antics and play the style of game that he does, he opens himself up for these kind of retroactive actions by the league, right? Like
LeBron knew that. Right.
He opened himself up to it because he had accrued like a certain number of technical or flagrant fouls, or what I think it was flagrant fouls at that point. So he was eligible for the suspension. So now I believe the league altered the foul classification after the game. So there was some kind of there was a little bit of controversy with them doing that, because then it made him, of course, eligible for the suspension.
Right.
But he has ultimately only himself to blame for his classless play and those kinds of antics. And the list is long and storied with the amount of cheap things that Draymond Green has done throughout his career. Most recently, the one coming most glaringly to mind was when he stomped down on Domantas Sabonis' chest, and sprung off of him like Sabonis' chest was some kind of a trampoline. Then he was screaming at the crowd obscenities and just classless kind of a display of emotions by Draymond Green after that classless display of thuggery on the court. So, yeah, I'm just not the biggest Draymond Green fan, but I do have to agree there was definitely some suspiciousness floating around the way that foul was upgraded and the way that the suspension went down by the league offices, and the way ultimately that it really factored into the Cavaliers coming back ultimately from that 3-1 series deficit and winning the finals. But to Bandsnab's point, again, thank you, Bandsnabs, I actually would like to see Cleveland win without LeBron, because I think that would be a funny storyline that I would like to talk about. So I have kind of been unofficially rooting for Cleveland much of the year. So it hurts me to see them go out like this amid all of these untimely and unfortunate injuries at this time of the year. You really hate to see it. If a really great team, and Cleveland has been great this regular season, 64 wins, number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, above the defending champion Boston Celtics, I would like to see them go out on their shields with a full complement of their players, because part of Cleveland's game, just like the Thunder, is their strength in numbers and their depth and just the amount of elite players they can throw at you. So it's just unfortunate that they're out without, again, 3 of their top 7 rotation players, essentially. You can make a case, maybe 3 of their top 6. So it's just unfortunate. And Indiana looks like they're going to luck out for a second year in a row and get a very deep playoff run due largely to injuries, because they basically at every stage of the playoffs last year, their series were affected by injuries. And now again, this year, like you got Damian Lillard that was basically out for at least half the series and really not right for the other half. When he came back in that Milwaukee series for Indiana's first round. And now here we are, they're into the second round and the Cleveland Cavaliers are just dropping like flies. So we'll have to keep an eye on that series. Maybe some of those guys come back and maybe Cleveland can mount like a furious comeback. They had a couple very lengthy win streaks this year. I think they won, over 15 games multiple times this year. So winning, 4 out of 5 in this playoff series is certainly not out of the question. So just kind of cross our fingers and hope for the best for these players that are out with injuries, that they can return at some point sometime soon in that series.
Yes, sir. And by the way, I think LeBron should have been suspended too, because he's the one that jumped on on Draymond's head, like riding him like a horse. That was so crazy that he started that and got away completely unscathed.
Do you want to know what's also crazy to me about that whole thing? Like Draymond Green was, a huge kind of foil to LeBron James. He was, he was like a foil, like a villain type figure to LeBron. They were, they were constantly clashing heads. They, of course, Golden State and Cleveland met, multiple times in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
And Draymond was always a LeBron irritant. He was constantly trolling him even when they weren't playing.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, fast forward to 2025, they're, these guys are like slobbering all over each other any chance they get. There, I think there's footage of them singing karaoke together at some bar. It's just disgusting and unsightly to see this kind of a heel turn by Draymond Green, seemingly cashing the Clutch Sports paychecks. So I just felt like I needed to mention that. Rudy Perez is in though, and I just wanted to give them a shout out for sponsoring us here in the Skap Live After Dark area. Gary, what does Rudy have for us?
I like your YouTube channel photo icon there. Miyagi to Danielson. That's like Phil Jackson to Kobe. Screenshot this. Timberwolves will get swept by the Warriors. I don't know about that with Steph Curry out. I don't think so.
First of all, Rudy, if that happens with what, again, I'm just going to speculate that Steph Curry, the way he went off the court and the fact that he was ruled out immediately at halftime, like it wasn't like, oh, questionable or Curry hamstring injury, doubtful for return. It was no, Curry is out definitively. He will not return in the second half. That was the word we got early on in the halftime. So I would be absolutely shocked if he plays next game, especially with them winning game 1 on the road. In fact, I would say there is no chance that he plays next game. So Rudy, you're suggesting that the Timberwolves, with their backs against the wall at home, down 0-1 and no Steph Curry, are going to win that game, lose that game. The Warriors will win that game and then, in fact, sweep the Timberwolves. I don't really know about that, Rudy. Go ahead. Let us, I will keep that comment in mind, and I will certainly give you a shout out and we can talk about that if it happens. I definitely do not see that happening, but a very, very bold claim by you, Rudy. And Stephanie is back. Stephanie is just making it rain here in the Skap Live After Dark Lounge area. Stephanie, thank you. Gary, what does Stephanie have to add this time?
Real quick, before we read this, and I think Stephanie will appreciate this stat as well, to go back what you were asking about for the Cavaliers, I looked it up while you're just talking. They had 3 winning streaks this year. They started out the gate 15-0.
Right.
Then they had a 12-game winning streak, and then the monster streak, another monster streak, 16-game winning streak.
So, right,
There
I
you go.
said I thought 2, but 3. So there was 2 actually. Two win streaks of 15 plus games
Yep.
this year, and then one other 12-game win
Yes.
streak for them. So, yeah, to suggest that if they had to beat Boston 4 times out of 5 or the Thunder 4 times out of 5, obviously not going to happen. But as well as the Indiana Pacers have been playing as of late, as I think underrated maybe as they might be at this point, they're not some kind of juggernaut that's unbeatable for the Cavaliers if the Cavaliers get their full complement and assortment of players back. If they don't, though, I think this could be unfortunately a pretty swift series conclusion here. Unfortunately enough for the poor Cleveland Cavaliers. But speaking of the poor Cleveland Cavaliers, Stephanie, who is heartbroken, of course, as we know, with her Cavaliers defeat tonight. What does she have for us this time?
She says they treat Ant-Man the same as LeBron before the finals.
Stephanie, thank you very much for the super chat, and thank you. That's a great point, actually. I agree with that. Anthony Edwards has become kind of like a darling of the NBA, and I don't know why it is, like why some people get this classification or designation and why some people don't. I mean, Giannis Antetokounmpo was so damn great. Whatever it was, 6 years ago, I think it was 2019, 2020, where he won, 2019, 2020, and then maybe 2021 or 2021, then he won the championship. So in back-to-back years, he won league MVP twice and defensive player of the year in one of those 2 years, becoming one of the only 3 players in NBA history to do that, joining Michael Jordan and Hakeem Olajuwon. That's how good Giannis Antetokounmpo was. And he was doing that while setting basically all-time level marks in PER during that time, player efficiency rating. He then went on the next year after those 2 MVPs to win an NBA championship with Chris Middleton as his second option. And yet, for some reason, nobody was declaring Giannis the face of the NBA or the best player declaratively in the NBA at that time. Then Nikola Jokic comes along right on the heels of that Giannis run. And Nikola Jokic has been authoring one of probably like a top 5-year peak ever on the heels of that run by Giannis. And still, over the last couple of years, none of the writers really have cozied up to Nikola Jokic. I don't hear anybody saying how Nikola Jokic is by far the best player in the NBA, which he is. And yet certain players are just cherry picked by the media, and they're just these darling guys that just get given everything. And Anthony Edwards, to Stephanie's point here, looks to be one of those players, just like LeBron James. And Anthony Edwards has everything that he needs. There is nothing that lineup is lacking. They have depth, they have defense, they have 3-point shooting, they have veteran leadership. All he has to do is play his role and just be an individual great scorer, and he can't do that half the time, it seems. He's consistently shooting under 500. He was in 4 of the 5 games last series against the Lakers. 4 of the 5 games he's under 500 shooting from the field. So I just grow, like I said, I've been saying it all night. I was a little worked up earlier about it. I grow weary of the Anthony Edwards experience, Stephanie. So great point. I think he is kind of heading down the LeBron path.
All right. Our friend John Ratcliffe is back with a 2-piece. Are the Warriors in trouble if Steph is out? Yes, indeed. Big trouble.
John, many thanks to you. If John, for some reason, you are just joining us here tonight in the Skap Live After Dark Lounge, because John, you are such an active member here and such an avid sponsor. I just want to make sure you did not miss the fact that I shouted out your 100K and Saber Red to the eyes comment earlier, even though I will not be, if that is mace of some sort, John, I will not be macing myself in the eyes, but But yeah, I just wanted to shout you out because I missed that last night when I signed off. So thank you for that. And yes, the Warriors, I think, are in trouble, obviously, if Steph is out. But they were lucky enough, fortunate enough tonight, thanks to Minnesota playing a pretty lousy team game and Anthony Edwards not really helping much in that regard, that they were able to steal this game one on the road, hold on to it despite the fact that Steph Curry played in just 13 minutes of this game before going out for the night with that hamstring injury. So yes, they are in trouble, but by them stealing game one, that, it kind of buys them some time to let Steph Curry kind of heal up and take some extra games off now. So we'll play it by ear. We'll see what the diagnosis is. The imaging will return sometime tomorrow. We'll see what grade sprain that hamstring is, and they'll probably take some kind of a road in terms of his recovery or his availability from there. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But they would be in trouble, I think, for the long term in the playoffs if Steph Curry's out. Absolutely, John. Of course they would be. But thank you, John, for checking in. And we have another one of our regulars checking back in, Bands Nabs. Bands Nabs. Gary, what's up with Bands Nabs here?
Let me chime in on something real quick. I have a quick theory why Anthony Edwards is so inconsistent. I noticed.
Go on, moderator Gary. I'm all ears.
After they beat the Lakers, I saw this new YouTube video from Anthony Edwards. It appears he has a YouTube channel, and it just hit me. The reason this guy's so inconsistent, he's not going to the lab the way Kobe Bryant does. Could you see Kobe Bryant? Kobe Bryant wouldn't even have a Twitter account during his playing days, let alone the playoffs. Could you see Kobe Bryant doing a YouTube video in the middle of the playoffs? His family used to say that he hardly even talked to them in the house when he was so dialed in. Remember in 2009, they were up 2-0, and he's like scowling at the press conference. They're like, well, you're up 2-0. You don't seem very happy. He's like, what's there to be happy about? Job ain't done. Is the job finished? I don't think so. What's there to be happy about? Dude is scowling. He said his daughters nicknamed him Mr. Grumpy during the playoffs because he was so focused. If Anthony Edwards wants to excel and wants to be in the same mention of Jordan or Kobe, this guy can't be on social media during the playoffs. Really shouldn't even be there in the regular season either. I don't think he's preparing as hard as he needs to, but if he did, we could see something really, really good, something great. But he's a happy-go-lucky guy. He likes to have fun. I get it. He's coasting on his talent combined with some work ethic. But imagine if he had Kobe's or Jordan or even Reggie Miller. A lot of time we don't talk about Reggie Miller's work ethic just because he never won a championship. But he was very much like Kobe and Jordan. And now we find out, listening to Reggie Miller's interview with All the Smoke, that he was actually training Kobe when Kobe first got in the league. And Reggie said he was pissed off in the 2000 finals because Kobe started using the moves against him that Reggie trained him to do like a couple seasons before that. They were working out together because Kobe is trying to pick Reggie's brain, Jordan's brain, but that's who Kobe, Jordan, and Reggie were. That's what Anthony needs to become if he wants to go to the next level.
Yeah, I think Edwards also I think he's fallen in love too much with a 3-point shot. The kid, for being, I think he's still only 23 years old. For him to be as versatile of a scorer as he is at this stage, he certainly obviously works on his game and adds elements to it in the offseason. But I think probably I think he might have led the league in 3-point shooting this year in terms of like attempts or makes. I think maybe in terms of 3-point makes, he led the league this year. But he shot a hell of a lot of threes, and the guy is just too gifted of a scorer to just fall in love too much with that outside shot. I think it's to the detriment of him. We saw it in that Lakers game 5, where he was 0 of 11 and 5 of 19 from the field. I mean, sometimes just go to the bat, put your head down and go to the basket and get it going better, Ant-Man. You know, in the last series, speaking of that Lakers series, the 5-gamer, I mean, yeah, 27 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. I mean, that's a good series, but he shot 42% from the field. In today's day and age, in today's NBA, there's no way in hell someone with his ability to attack the basket should be shooting 42%. Like, this isn't the late 90s or the early 2000s. 42% from him in a series, to me, is just unacceptable. But we'll see. Obviously, he better come back with a vengeance in game 2, because that is a must-win game now, in my opinion. Whenever you go down 0-1 at home, game 2 automatically becomes a must-win for you, or in my opinion, the series is over. So that is technically, to me, basically, we might as well call that an elimination game coming up the next time they play, which I believe will be Thursday night. I could check on that, but let's see. What does Bands Nabs have for us, Gary? Thank you, Bands Nabs, by the way.
Oh, my goodness. The question of the night. Game show idea. Colin Cowherd. Well, first of all, I can say, Bands, we're going to take Colin off this list because he's not as much of a kiss up to LeBron as the other guys.
Moderator Gary, I respectfully disagree with that. You actually mentioned that maybe 2 nights ago.
Right.
You were putting up for Colin Cowherd. I will forever. There is indelibly a cut from Colin Cowherd that I've used multiple times on videos of mine, and it will forever be locked in my mind. I will never forget it. He's comparing Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre to Michael Jordan and LeBron James. And he says, well, like, a lot of these fans in Green Bay and a lot of the fans, the national fans in the NFL, like, there's this mystique built up around Brett Favre. However, if you really drill into it, Aaron Rodgers is just much better at everything. And then he uses that comparison and applies it to Jordan and LeBron and says, look, while Jordan has this mystique built around him from fan nostalgia and media, posturing, LeBron really, if you actually look at it, just does everything better than Michael Jordan. That is laughable, pathetic. And Colin Cowherd is on the record saying it. So damn it, moderator Gary, I have to disagree with you, and I have to agree with Bands Nabs. We're going to keep Colin Cowherd's name in this.
Hold on. No, I don't. This is why I don't think you understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying Colin Cowherd hasn't said some crazy things sticking up for LeBron. I'm just saying what we're doing here is we're doing a comparison for who does it the most. Colin doesn't still come close to Shannon Sharp. That's what I'm saying, because we're trying to figure out who the worst violator is. And I'm saying Colin doesn't compare to Shannon Sharp or Nick Wright. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
He's
that's
bad,
fair. I'd say
Shannon
Nick
Sharp
Wright
is the worst. Shannon
Sharp and Nick Wright. But I just think of Colin Cowherd's just a bit of a stooge to me, Gary. And I don't really respect him necessarily as a journalist. I saw another drop. I just want to mention this. He was talking about something about elite quarterbacks or good young quarterbacks or something like that. And he had Dwayne Haskins on his list.
The guy passed away.
And Dwayne Haskins had passed away. Well, when he was mentioning Dwayne, it was just a joke to me, but whatever. But anyway, sorry, Gary, you're right. He's not as bad as Nick Wright, Shannon Sharp, Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Not that he's not bad. He absolutely is, but Shannon Sharp and Nick Wright take the cake. That would be the real contest. Shannon Sharp or Nick Wright. We would need to do a deep dive into that.
Fair. But, that's fair. But what's Bands Nab's game show idea here?
Okay. Colin Cowherd, Shannon Sharp, Nick Wright, Kendrick Perkins in an auction to take Savannah's place for one night with LeBron. Who wins?
This is kind of like a blind date or not a blind, one of those date auctions, like LeBron, on the stage, and he's raising, fundraising or something. And these guys they've got their little paddles out and they're raising the paddles and and there's a bidding war back and forth.
Easy. It's Shannon Sharp.
100%. I agree 100%. Gary, moderator, and Van Snaps. Shannon Sharp would be the declarative winner. Not only does Shannon Sharp have the most money of anybody list, although maybe Colin Cowherd, but I would guess Shannon Sharp's got the most money by far of the people on this list. But he also is the biggest LeBron jock sniffer sycophant out there.
Ever.
So I think probably Shannon Sharp would definitely win that one, Van Snaps. But thank you for the great question and for sponsoring Skap Live After Dark. We got GGT999 back in the house. They were a pervasive member last night, a very active member last night. So welcome back in, Gary. And what does GGT99 have for us tonight?
Okay. Does averaging a triple-double in the 90s make Michael Jordan the greatest point guard ever?
Well, now Michael Jordan did not average a triple-double. I think there's like a 13 or 14 game streak, I want to say maybe, where he was potentially averaging a triple-double. But Jordan never averaged a triple-double in the 90s. In fact, Jordan never averaged a triple-double ever, because there's been 3 players ever who have done it. Obviously, the famous 1961 season where Oscar Robertson did it the same year, mind you, where Wilt Chamberlain averaged 50, and both of them lost MVP that year to Bill Russell in one of the most outrageous MVP races ever, probably the most outrageous MVP race. I think I want to say...
I got a stat for you.
Go ahead.
Only 3 players have accomplished the feat: Oscar, Russell Westbrook, and Jokic, while Jordan did have 7 consecutive games with triple doubles in 89. He never averaged a triple double for a full season.
Right. So yeah, there you have it. I was just to finish my thought on the 61 MVP. I think Elgin Baylor, was 4th that year, and he averaged like 37 points and 15 rebounds per game or something like that. So that's how crazy that was. But yeah, that year, Oscar. Then, of course, Russell Westbrook. Look, Nikola Jokic did it, and he was crazy efficient when he did it. And he also made history in that Nikola Jokic this year finished top 3 in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. No one ever in NBA history has finished top 10 in 4 standard box metrics. He finished top 3 in 4 different. So an absolute, to me, the best, at the very least, the best offensive season ever this year by Nikola Jokic. But the fact that Russell Westbrook did it, he did it 4 times. So Oscar Robertson did it in 1961. Then no one did it again till Russell Westbrook, I think in like 2015, I want to say that year. So, and then he did it 3 more times after that. I mean, Russell Westbrook, to me, I don't know, we can get some comments in here maybe in the chat about Russell Westbrook and what people think of him. I see a lot of mixed feelings on Russell Westbrook. He's a divisive character. I got to be honest, I've always been a pretty big Russ guy myself, which is why I like actually having him on the Nuggets. He's easy for me to root for. But yeah, it's crazy that Russell Westbrook did that 4 times. And I mean, he led the first year he did it. He led the league in scoring and was 2nd in assists and like 10th in rebounds. Think that over. Russell Westbrook, who's like a 6'3" guard in the modern era, led the league in scoring, was 2nd in assists and 10th in rebounds. And people actually think this guy is overrated. I don't get the Russ hate. I do think his play doesn't necessarily always translate into winning. That's obviously fair because he's never won and he's played with a lot of great players. But the guy doesn't cheat the game. He plays very hard. And from a statistical standpoint, he's an absolute monster. Gary, we've got a regular coming in here, sliding into the Skap Live After Dark Lounge area next. And he's got a message actually for you. B Twixt, thank you for coming back in here for a 5th straight night. And what kind of a message do you have for moderator Gary?
Well, our bestie is back, our frenemy. Thanks for the 2-piece. And he says, moderator Gary watches HGTV by himself, confirmed. So let me just say, I hope you're not stalking me, because as a matter of fact, some years back, I did actually used to enjoy watching Property Brothers when they would renovate properties and homes. I thought it was interesting. And B Twig, just let me say for the record, I would much rather any day of the month watch HGTV than Chronicles of Riddick or any Vin Diesel movie. Can you name any good movie Vin Diesel has ever been in? Please let me know in the chat.
Moderator Gary, let me just go ahead and slide in here and watch your mouth about Vin Diesel, okay? Because I happen to be a big Fast and Furious franchise fan. My friend, my close friends and I are big Fast and Furious fans. Now, not the latter ones, not since Paul Walker died, but basically from now. And I like them because they're so comically terrible. So part of the thing that I like about it is because the acting is so pitiful and so bad. And Vin Diesel is awful and heinous, of course. So he's a preeminent character in playing a role in that. But yes, I do appreciate, and I think honestly, Too Fast, Too Furious, which is generally regarded as the worst one in the franchise, it might be the best one to me because it is the worst one. It is so terrible. And Vin Diesel's actually not in that one, but that's the one where Paul Walker and Tyrese are in like Miami, and Eva Mendes is in. Anyway, no more Vin Diesel talk. I guess I will agree with you though, moderator Gary. Chronicles of Riddick was ass. I'm sorry, wait, it was ass. That movie was horrendous. The first one though, what was it, like Pitch Black or something?
I am proud to say I've never watched a Fast and Furious movie, nor do I ever intend to. And I don't even think I've ever watched a Vin Diesel movie just because I've seen clips of him and he looks like a dork, like who's trying to act tough. Like he's how much Oscar love has Vin Diesel ever gotten? This guy is like the Razzie King. I could see him getting nominated for Razzies, but not so much for an Oscar. So I'm proud to say I don't think I've ever even watched a Vin Diesel movie, and I would much rather watch HGTV than any Vin Diesel movie, especially Chronicles of Riddick. I don't even know. I do remember him in a movie called Pitch Black. I don't know what series it was part of.
Let me again slide back in, because in case anybody in the live chat right now or anybody out there watching now as we near 1 a.m. on the East Coast, if any of you out there in Skap Live After Dark, if it's not clearly obvious, I am a big movie guy. So I have seen Pitch Black. Was, I believe, the first one of that franchise that was actually pretty good. The first one called Pitch Black, where he plays, I'm not going to get into it, but it's a sci-fi film, and it's a far different feel than the follow-up Chronicles of Riddick, which they dropped a ton of money on and was absolutely atrocious. So, and I'm not sure. I think that might be a Pitch Black avatar there on B Twixt handle there. So I guess I'll give him a little leeway if that is. Maybe B Twixt, you could just confirm for us if that is from Pitch Black or if it is from Chronicles of Riddick, because that would change my opinion of that avatar. But either way, you were right, though. Moderator Gary apparently does watch HGTV by himself. So good guess. Good guess.
Years ago, one show on there. Okay, so, and I know a lot about movies. One day we're going to have some movie debates on another on another video someday. Tony with a 5-piece. Thank you for that. That Jokic, Giannis are not celebrated as faces of the league, despite being better players and people than the likes of Ja Morant, Zion, Ant, is infuriating.
Tony, great point, and I agree full-heartedly with you on that. When Giannis was doing what he was doing back there in 2019, 2020, I was going off about Giannis, and I didn't have the platform I have now, but I was screaming from whatever mountaintops that I was on at the time that Giannis is not merely by far the best player in the NBA, because keep in mind back then, LeBron was still talked about very favorably. Of course, LeBron won the bubble finals that year, when Giannis won MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. So I think the LeBron factor was playing in there for Giannis, but I was not only singing Giannis's praises back then, I was also talking about how that guy was a historically great player at that point, and he's only really, in my opinion, validated that moving forward. And then, look, when Nikola Jokic, I have to admit, I'm known as a big Jokic guy now, but like when Jokic first burst onto the scene, like I was a little hesitant of this guy. I was a little skeptical of the way he played and the fact that he was winning MVPs and you know, it wasn't translating to playoff success. But when I really dug in and looked at the roster that he had around him, and the roster that he had was even worse back then because they were all hurt all the time. You know, Michael Porter Jr. was missing full playoff runs. Jamal Murray was missing full playoff runs. So the fact that he was just getting them to where he was getting them was an absolute marvel to me. So I quickly became a huge Jokic supporter. And I think it's, Tony, I've been screaming about this for years. It is infuriating to me as well. So many thanks to you for chiming in, for sponsoring the Skap Live After Dark, and for a great point. Moderator Gary, I have a little something in my throat, so I'm going to turn it over to you for a second while I take a sip of water here.
Yes,
we've got
sir.
John back, so we can see what John has to say. John, thank you for joining us yet again for Night 5.
John's not too happy with you right now, Scott. You got a 5-piece here. Thank you for that. Your sacrilege towards the Celtics won't go unpublished. Your video was premature. Even though I knew it was coming, I was still annoyed. Uh-oh, what says you?
Well, John, thank you for your continual support and sponsorship of Skap Live After Dark, despite the fact that I am annoying you with my coverage on the Celtics. Look, John, I don't think it's any mystery here with my coverage of the Celtics for the last 2 years that I think very, very little of them. They are absolutely and undeniably too big to fail. To me, the Celtics were, to me, one of the best teams in the NBA before they got Porzingis and Drew Holiday. They had, arguably, they were one of the few teams that had, in my opinion, two guys that were going to be consistently all NBA caliber. For whatever reason, Jaylen Brown gets shit on by the media year in and year out. I'm pretty sure, moderator Gary, as I go on here, if you could fact check this for me, I'm pretty sure that Jaylen Brown has only one third-team NBA select, like all NBA third-team selection. So only one all-NBA third-team pick in his entire career, which is an absolute travesty, in my opinion, if that guy only has one all-league selection.
Jaylen Brown has been named to one All-NBA team, specifically the All-NBA second team in 2023. He has also been an All-Rookie second team selection in 2017. Additionally, he has been an All-Star 4 times, 21, 23, 24, and 25.
Okay, so like I said, I was mostly right. I missed that it was his second team selection, not a third, but he only has one all-league selection, which is, again, a travesty to me. But I thought that team was already one of the best teams in the league with the Tatum and Brown pairing. And of course, you have the emergence of White, who becomes like, I mean, to me, they've got the best starting five because they've added, not only with White emerging, but you add Kristaps Porzingis, who basically throughout his career in the NBA, look, the guy has been mired. His career has been mired with injuries. He's never really come to fruition and really materialized to everything we thought that this guy would become. But by and large, throughout the vast majority of his healthy career, Kristaps Porzingis was either the best or second best player on a team. So Boston pulls that guy on. Then they get Drew Holiday, who Giannis Antetokounmpo, I speak so highly of him from time to time. He had the best record in the NBA in 2023, the year that Joel Embiid stole the league MVP from Nikola Jokic. That year, it was not Jokic. It was not Embiid. It was Giannis Antetokounmpo with the number 1 seed in the NBA that year with Drew Holiday as his best player. Middleton was hurt virtually the whole year, and Drew Holiday was basically it for Giannis. So then that guy goes to Boston too. So they take their principal conference foe at the time, an adversary in Giannis. They take that dude's second best player, and he becomes like the 5th best player on Boston. So this team, Boston, a bunch of choking dogs, just becomes too big to fail by amassing this. No one talks about them as a super team, but I think that you can make a pretty good case that they are. The only reason I wouldn't designate them a super team is because they don't have like 3 undeniable like Hall of Fame guys. But when you look at their starting 5 and the fact they have the 6th man this year of the NBA, they should have had the best record in the league. The fact that they finished with the 3rd best record in the league, and now they're pulling stunts like they pulled last game against the Knicks, where they jack up 60 threes, missing 45 of them, and blow a 20-point lead. John, that is pathetic. And I'm going to say it as such, that it is pathetic. And I don't think there's anything premature about it. I think the Celtics are still going to win the Eastern Conference. Like, I'm confident they're still going to the NBA Finals at the very least, and then we'll see what they do when they get there against whoever the hell gets out of the West. But that won't make it any different. That won't change the narrative or the message of what I said about the game last game. It's pathetic when you have a team that talented sleepwalking their way through a game up 20 and then choke it away like that while jacking it up 60 times from behind the arc. John, I'm sorry, it's pathetic. So I had to say it. But again, thank you, John, for coming in here. I'm sure you have probably dropped a couple more comments in some sort of a response to that, but we will see when we get there to that. But thank you. And we have somebody else in here. Gary, how would you say that? Manlay, maybe?
Manlit, but maybe it is Manlay. But we know one thing. He's a man. He's either a Manlay or a Manlit. All right. But thank you for the 5-piece. I'm thinking NZ is New Zealand is what I'm guessing. New Zealand currency. Okay. Rudy Gobert. Only 26 minutes with the Warriors playing Draymond at the 5. Should he have played more? Wasn't good when Looney was on the court.
Yeah, Draymond Green is like Rudy Gobert. He's like a puzzling guy. He gets a lot of shade. He's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, yet I see many people, really just fans and media personnel, guys that have played in the league as well, guys that still play in the league, that shade the hell out of this guy. So, Rudy Gobert tonight. I don't know what the substitution situation was. 26 minutes. He was a -10 while he was on. So, I mean, I personally think I like Rudy Gobert. I think he might not fit necessarily in the context of this NBA and the way certain teams play when they go small and they're, shooting a billion threes. But to me in this series, this is going to be a slower paced, lower scoring type series. I think it would probably behoove Minnesota, even though they like to play fast, get up and down the floor and jack up near 40 or more threes a game. But I think it would probably behoove Minnesota to slow this down, get into the context of a half court kind of a set and play Rudy Gobert more. If it were me pulling the strings and making the decisions, that's likely, the direction that I would be moving towards in game 2. But we will see. Looney got 14 minutes. He was a +4. By and large, the Warriors were good when they went to the bench. Obviously, their starters were even better though, as they dominated the vast majority of this game. Maybe one of the differences they can make moving forward, the Timberwolves, that is, into the next game, is getting Rudy Gobert some more minutes. Mike Conley also, speaking of guys that did not play a lot tonight, and just getting back to the game tonight, the Warriors 99-88 winners, stealing game 1 on the road against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And Mike Conley was below not good in this game. 0 of 5 from the field, minus 12. It was the worst of any starter on the Timberwolves tonight, and he got only 22 minutes, so even less than Rudy Gobert. So there is a lot of adjustments that need to be made for Minnesota moving on into game 2. And, one of the things that should probably help them, though, is the fact that Steph Curry is probably likely to not play that game 2. We're still awaiting the imaging results tomorrow, obviously, but my speculation would be that there is no way, 0% chance, we will be seeing him playing moving forward into the series. But we'll keep an eye on that. It will probably be later breaking news tomorrow because this is a later game, and that is a West Coast team, though they are here in Minnesota. So maybe we'll find out a little bit sooner. I'm sure I know I will be waiting eagerly to hear the news on that one, and maybe I'll update.
Let me clarify, because I thought you just said there's 0% chance he comes back in the series. Do you mean
no? 0% chance he comes back in game 2.
Game 2, okay, because I thought you alluded to the whole
If
series.
I said series, I misspoke. I'd say he likely will be back in game for the series, but with
game
them
3 or 4, hopefully.
Yeah, with them, I'm thinking game 4, because with them stealing game 1, I think that would be a calculated risk they would take, that they could steal one of the next 2 again, with game 3 being in San Francisco, that maybe they could get that one over the finish line and go up 2-1. And if they do go up 2-1, they might not bring him back maybe for game 4. We'll see.
Yeah.
But if they fall down 2-1, I think he would try to come back and do something in game 4. So my guess is, though, with them winning tonight, that we will not see him till game 4, but we'll play that by ear. And thank you, Manlet. Thank you very much. And we have another Skap Live regular sliding in here. Steph, what has Steph got for us?
Wait, is this Steph Curry?
This is not Steph Curry.
Oh, okay. Steph with a 2-piece. Thank you for that. And I want to compound a question to go along with this question here, which is a great question. We love talking about this topic. Jokic about to go on 2018 LeBron run and win title. And my question to compound, Skap, if the Nuggets were to somehow win it this year, where would Jokic rank all time?
Well, I think we kind of talked about this a little bit the other day, I think.
Every day.
I look, they're up 1-0, but really when we look at it, I think obviously the Thunder are going to win. The Thunder are 11.5 point favorites tomorrow, by the way. That is how much Vegas and the odds makers think about the Denver Nuggets after winning game 1. They're 11.5 point underdogs at open for tomorrow's game. I think the Thunder will easily win that game tomorrow night, even the series 1-1. And at that point, the Nuggets have home court still. But they're split 1-1, and the next team to win 3 is going to win the series. And I still think the Thunder are overwhelming favorites to be the team that gets there first and wins this series. I think, look, if somehow Denver pulls a miracle and wins tomorrow, I'm ready to admit that Denver can win the series. Aside from that, nothing short of Denver holding serve and winning both games 3 and 4 will make me feel any bit of confidence that they can actually win this series. Because if they go home and get split in one of those 2 games, which is highly probable, then their game 1 win really means nothing at all. It just practically it means they get to a game 7 and lose it for the second year in a row in the semifinals, losing to a better, younger team. Minnesota just far better than them last year, and the Thunder far better than them this year. So I really don't see any way they get by this series. If they do somehow and get into the finals, let's just speculate. Well, Boston has an extreme advantage over them, despite the fact Boston is a little bit smaller. If Porzingis, we know he's injury prone, and if Porzingis gets hurt, then they're in a world of trouble against Jokic. Obviously, Al Horford does not have the juice to play substantial minutes straight up against Nikola Jokic. So who knows? Stranger things have happened. This still would be one of the craziest playoff runs in my memory. If it happens, I give it like a 3% chance if I was handicapping that. If it happens, Jokic to me would definitely be top 10. I'd have to really sit down though, Steph, to your question here. Thank you for the sponsorship drop here. I'd have to really look down and think about it in the off season, maybe think about it in the aftermath and get a video out probably with my full thoughts on it, maybe like 2 or 3 days after a potential closeout in the NBA finals would occur to make my case for where I think Nikola Jokic sits. But I can say this with confidence. If he gets a championship this season against this field with this supporting cast, with what he's done over the last 5 years, I can say with confidence he's a top 10 all-time player. And it's easy. It's not like, oh, maybe he's a fringe top 10. Nah, if he wins this title, he is declaratively a top 10 all-time player. So just where that is, though, in the top 10, I'd have to get back to you on that one if it actually happens, which to me is still a massive if.
Right. All right. That was a great question, Steph. Thank you for that. Dylan Davis with a 5-piece. Thank you, sir. Now, this is more realistic, other than our friend Rudy Perez, who said it's going to be a clean sweep. This is possible. Warriors in 7. Ant talks a bigger game than he plays, losing game 1 at home with no Steph. Warriors in 7. I agree, Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan, I'm with you on this. And I can see this scenario, whereas, look, I think if Denver, because I thought Denver would probably lose in 4 or 5 games, quite frankly. And I thought that the Warriors would likely lose this series. But getting game 1, when you steal game 1 just winning game 1 in general, to me, is undervalued. Like a lot of people in around NBA circles view game 1 as like, oh, no big deal. Like, it's just game 1. Like you still have to get, the first to 4, blah, 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 and all these sayings that people spew out when they lose game 1. To me, game 1 is way more important and way overlooked a lot of times. Game 1 sets the tone. It puts you in the driver's seat from the beginning, and it enables you to then make your adjustments from basically a tied or ahead, because now it's incumbent when you're down 0-1, you have to make the adjustments. So then the team that, sees your adjustments then can adjust to you on the fly, and they have the advantage from the jump with getting game 1. So the fact that the Nuggets stole that game 1 and the fact that the Warriors steal game 1, like it does give you, I think, a decided advantage getting game 1. And the fact that it was on the road for both teams is an even more an even bigger and more pronounced advantage. So, I can see it in this series more so than Denver. If, let's say, winning game 1 for Denver essentially enables them to get it into a game 7, whereas they would have lost maybe in 5 otherwise. I don't really see, so what? They get into a game 7. I don't think they would win game 7. But if the Warriors can get it to a game 7, I do like their ability to find a way to get it done in game 7 because, with Steph and Jimmy Butler and the fact that Anthony Edwards is prone to vanishing acts, I think that I could see the Warriors stealing a game 7 on the road, which would be the second game 7 road win for them in a row if they do it to get into the Western Conference Finals. So great comment or whatever question there, Dylan Davis, and thank you.
Hey, B, real quick to add on, B Twix and I are double teaming on you. He's tag teaming me with you now. Aaron Gordon hitting multiple game winners. I don't want to hear about Jokic's supporting cast anymore, Skap.
Jokic's supporting cast is still lousy. It's still far worse than basically any team. Like, look at the teams that are in this stage of the playoffs. Like, every team right now, look at the star players on every team in these playoffs right now. And just so we're clear on that, the teams playing right now, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Indiana Pacers, the Boston Celtics, the New York Knicks, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Denver Nuggets, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Golden State Warriors. In my opinion, the Denver Nuggets have the worst team. Look at the lead players on every team. Like look at whoever you would designate the best player on the teams remaining. So Anthony Edwards, Steph Curry, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Brunson, Tatum, Donovan Mitchell. Maybe now Mitchell just because of injury, I would say. But if assuming health for the Cavaliers, and then Haliburton for the Pacers. I mean, in my estimation, Nikola Jokic has less help than any of the other teams that are still available and playing right now. So, it is what it is. There's going to be this narrative now. It used to happen with Jamal Murray. It is now happening. By the way, is this up somewhere that I can bring up this comment or?
It's in the chat. There's so many comments in the chat.
No worries. No worries.
Read it.
So who made this comment? B Twix or who was it?
Yeah, our friend B Twix.
Okay, so B Twix. So there's this narrative about Jamal Murray like being the clutch player or whatever. Nikola Jokic was probably the best clutch player in the NBA this year. He was the best clutch player in the playoffs in 2023 when they won the championship, not Jamal Murray. Nikola Jokic led the Nuggets, led the NBA in clutch time. So there's just because guys like pull a last shot out doesn't mean they're the closers or the clutchest player on the team or even good supporting castmate. I mean, Robert Horry hit a massive shot. The Lakers, when they were down 2-1 in the series against Sacramento in the Western Conference Finals in 2002, Robert Horry hit the game-winning three-point shot, which lifted the Lakers into a 2-2 tie. It would have been a 3-1 deficit otherwise. Like, that didn't mean Robert Horry was, like, the best player on the Lakers or, like, a clutch player. Like, he's a clutch player, but it doesn't mean he's the clutchest guy or the closer on that team. That was Kobe Bryant. John Paxson hit a big shot for Michael Jordan. Steve Kerr hit a big shot for Michael Jordan. Like, these guys, that doesn't mean they are, like, elite supporting castmates or like the closers on the teams. So I do just want to dig in real quick. Give me a little bit of leeway here while I look this up.
This is what I say about Denver. Here, if you take the statistics, I agree with you. But here's the thing I don't think you're taking into account. It's the intangibles, it's their heart, and the way they come together, and they find themselves in tough situations and they overcome a lot of the time, even like they did last night. I even told you in the middle of the game, yeah, they looked so overwhelmed by OKC's defense in the first half. I don't think they have a shot in this game. You remember I said that. And yet they squeaked it out some way. And that's the thing. I love this team because they have that championship pedigree. It's the intangibles. It's not in the box score. They always fight back and find a way, and they have the right pieces together. I don't think Golden State has those same intangibles, even though they are more talented overall with Steph and Butler. But the intangibles, Denver,
not just those two guys. They have a good squad. They have a good team. I mean, look at Buddy Hield. Like, you didn't even mention, like, is Buddy Hield even
he's been doing terrible.
The third best player. Hold on. Is Buddy Hield even the third best player on that team? I don't think so either. Yeah. And yet Buddy Hield scored 33 points in a game 7.
Right.
And basically won a game 7 on the road. Then he comes in to game 1 on the road and leads them again in scoring.
Right.
So not even the third best player on that team is leading them in back-to-back crucial, pivotal game, winning games on the road in the NBA playoffs against a higher seed than themselves. Like, okay, that like the Nuggets just don't have that. That would be like Michael Porter Jr. leading them, like scoring 33 points for them in game 7, and then coming in that last game that they won and then leading them in that. That would basically be what we're talking about.
And that's the thing. That's what they do is what I'm trying to tell you. Porter will have a crap game. I bet you watch him have a good game in this series. I bet you he will because he does. They're all inconsistent except Jokic. That's the problem. But but one or two guys always step up. You just don't know which ones it's going to be. And they come, and even when the certain guys struggle from game to game, they all manage to come together. And that's the heart of a champion. And that's why I love the team. I'm not saying they're the most talented.
But Gary, this is where I get totally annoyed with this premise, not just by you, but by everybody. And this is why I consistently push back. And this is why I am always making videos and pushing narratives of the team being bad and the supporting cast being poor, because Nikola Jokic is as good literally as anybody ever for the last 5 years.
Right. Yes.
I really do believe that. His 5-year peak that we've seen in the last 5 is as good as anybody that has ever lived. You can, maybe you put I think you can put Michael Jordan above him definitively.
Right.
That's the only guy. Now, I'm not saying that he is better than everybody else. He's better than mostly everybody else.
Right.
But what I'm saying is he's on a par with all of the other guys.
He's in the top tier.
Like
top
he's
elite
certainly
tier.
better. Like he's better than LeBron's. To me, Nikola Jokic is undeniably better than LeBron James's best 5-year peak. But like LeBron James has 4 NBA championships, and more than likely, Nikola Jokic is only going to have 1. You can say whatever you want to say. They'll play hard this year like they played hard last year. They should have got swept by Minnesota last year. They got it 7. They should have got swept this year by the Thunder. They'll get it 7 probably. They'll play hard. Ultimately, it won't be enough. And he's going to sign an extension this year, and he's going to go on playing with these guys, and he's going to keep being probably one of the best 10 players or 6 players ever for the next 5 years. And when the smoke clears and the dust settles at the end of the day, he's going to have 1 title compared to these other guys like LeBron, who has 4, because LeBron played with substantially better help than him. So that's why, are these guys bums, or are they lousy, or does he have garbage around him? Maybe not. But he has way less than every other great player we have ever seen. Any other great player that has won like a multitude of championships, he has way less than them. So when we sit back and look, he should have won 3 championships at least by now. If Jamal Murray played like he did in 2023, Jokic was lights out in the playoffs last year, but everybody vanished. Jamal Murray was garbage. Michael Porter Jr. was garbage. Aaron Gordon evaporated when it mattered most in the playoffs last year. So that's why I get annoyed with the defense of his supporting cast, because ultimately, look, you may be a couple good performances here or there. You may show up for 2 games out of 7. Or 1 game out of 7, or hit 1 big shot at the end of a game. But again, we know that I'm a big movie fan. And as Batman, or as Bruce Wayne tells Rachel Dawes at the end of Batman Begins, right before he jumps off the ledge, it's not who I am underneath. It's what I do that defines me. So maybe for a game or 2 a series, these guys are great clutch players, they're good players. But the reason I look at all-stars and all-NBA designated players is because that's who you really are. Throughout the course of years, throughout the course of your careers, that's what you really are. That's your resume points. That's what we're talking about here. Nikola Jokic has literally only 2 guys on his lineup that have ever made an all-star at any point of their careers. DeAndre Jordan and Russell Westbrook. And they are both years removed from being all-stars. DeAndre Jordan barely plays, and Russell Westbrook, people thought should have been out of the league 2 or 3 years ago. And those are the only guys who have ever one time made an all-star appearance. So whatever. Yes, these guys look good from time to time, but a lot of the times they are also being bolstered by Nikola Jokic. He's making them look better than they actually are. So I hate to badmouth these guys all the time. I do, but it's because other people go too far in it. People see Nikola Jokic failing in these playoffs, and they're like, oh, well, choker, the stats don't matter. It is pervasive idiocy that makes me go overboard and say what I say about these guys, because people will be critical of Jokic having 1 ring. Go back and look, his first 2 league MVPs, the first 2 league MVP years in like his age 25 and 26 seasons in the playoffs, he didn't have Michael Porter Jr. or Jamal Murray for the whole playoffs. And then in the second year, he didn't have Jamal Murray. So he was without Murray for 2 straight years in the playoffs when he was the best player in the NBA. So like and then Murray was a bum last year in the playoffs. So like these are the things that I need to consistently remind people of. So to whoever, I think it was B Twix that raised that point first and foremost here in the chat. Yeah, that's what I have to say to you and to that. And I will continue to make these narratives and push these cases like I have done, and I will continue to do.
All right. We get on to the next one with our friend John again. Thank you. The 5-piece. To clarify, Saber Red is the strongest legal mace you can use. Pepper spray is an insult to call it that. I laughed during training. Take it directly. Are you saying you took it directly and laughed, or are you saying that Skap here needs to take it directly? Are you challenging his manhood?
Yeah, John Radcliffe in again in the Skap Live After Dark Lounge, one of our biggest sponsors here. And John, he's just challenging me to do these things. He wants me to wear a LeBron James jersey. He wants me to mace myself. John, it's not going to happen. I appreciate your continued donations and sponsorships and your generosity here, but yeah, I will not be wearing a LeBron James jersey, and I will not be macing myself either. I'm looking forward to seeing some kind of a response, John, from you later on here about your Celtics. So we're just gonna keep on shooting through some of these right now. We've got Mad Reduction in. Thank you very much. What do you have for us, Mad Reduction, Gary? What's he got?
Well, before I get that, John, I got something to say to you. So you can save your $100 million donation to Skap. He's not wearing the LeBron jersey. So forget it. Not even for $100 million. Like, John,
let's not be too hasty here, Gary. If there's a $100 million donation coming, actually, John, if you want to pony up $100 million, I would maybe consider a LeBron tattoo. So let's not get too hasty here, Gary. But what does Mad Reduction have?
Mad Reduction with a 5-piece. Thanks for that. Huge fan of channel, Unc. Oh, whoa. Hold on now. Is that an insult? Because that's Shannon Sharp's nickname.
Yeah, I think I think it was just a term of endearment.
Yeah, I'm kidding. Keep the little bum hate coming. Skap knows ball. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Mad Reduction. I appreciate you. I appreciate the kind words, and I appreciate your generous support here. And speaking of generous support, we've got Stefan here that doesn't even have a comment or a question. He just wanted to bestow $5 upon us here in the Skap Live After Dark Lounge. So thank you very much, Stefan or Stefan. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce that, so I don't want to mangle that. But thank you very much. I do appreciate you, and I appreciate D's laughs as well coming in here. D's laughs. Gary, what is D's laughs have for us here?
OKC needs to play Chet and iHeart together. We need a Skap versus Nick Wrong. Yeah, we've been saying that Nick would never show up. Skap will be on the first flight anywhere Nick wants to go, but we know Nick would never do that. We need a Skap versus Nick Wrong. Right, would be a bloodbath. Great job on Fearless lately.
D's laughs, thank you very much for the kind words. And I must say I unequivocally agree with that. If you were on the Skap Live After Dark following the Nuggets' big win in Game 1, I did speculate on that same thing. The fact that for whatever reason, Mark Daigneault, who is a terrific coach, Mark Daigneault made a ton of mistakes in Game 1. A ton of mistakes. Like, why in the world... looking back at the game in the aftermath, like one of the things that I was critical of that night in the moment was Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein need to play extensive minutes together against Jokic. Like, I don't have any idea why he was doing that, playing one of the two staggered minutes with like 4 guards. Like, it was just silly for him to do. It was almost like Daigneault was trying to lose the game. He then, for whatever reason, Jokic had 5 fouls for like the whole fourth quarter. So they had to pull him out at the end of game situations. And Jokic was not on the floor when Shea dunked the ball. They designed a great inbound pass, so shout out to Dagnall for that. Shea cut to the rim, got an easy layup to put the Thunder back up 3 with about 12 seconds left. And Jokic was still on the floor, and there was no way, because the Nuggets had no timeouts, there was no way to sub him back in. For whatever reason, they would have had to go full length of the court, try to shoot a 3 or whatever. Dagnall had them foul immediately in the backcourt area, taking no time off of the clock. It also allowed Jokic to sub back in. Dagnall then was wasting his timeouts. They had no timeouts left for the final heave after Gordon hit his shot. So last year's Coach of the Year, Mark Dagnall, made so many errors in that game. One of them, Dee's Laughs points it out here, is Chet and Hartenstein not playing the same minutes together by and large throughout the game. So great point, Dee's Laughs. And thank you very much for supporting me and the lounge here. I do appreciate you. And Just a Messenger is in. Gary, what do we have from Just a Messenger?
And just to throw out, Skap, you now have established a working business relationship with Jason Whitlock, who does happen to know Colin Cowherd, who is besties with Nick Wright. So you could run by your friend Jason. Jason, why don't you shoot a text over to Cowherd and say, I've got a friend here who comes on my show and really, really is chomping at the bits to debate Kobe versus LeBron. And who knows? Maybe there's no response, but maybe there is. Maybe we have to wait a couple years until Nick Wright is off the Clutch payroll. We're going to get it one day, though, I hope. Just a Messenger for 5. Thank you for that. Then best is group, the less lines, the best. I wasn't expecting a Vin Diesel. Then best is group, the less lines, the better. Let's hear it. I am Skap.
Just the Messenger, thank you very much. I am Skap. I don't have the gravelly Vin voice, but yes, I do agree. Probably Vin was best, I would say, as Groot. That's a good call. Some crazy voice acting going on actually in Guardians. It still blows my mind that Bradley Cooper was the voice of Rocket the Raccoon. Like, that still is mind-blowing to me. Definitely does not sound like Bradley Cooper to me. So, and Vin Diesel probably was his best job of his career there as Groot. So just the Messenger, great point, and thank you very much for the donation. And Jolly Joshams, regular here on the Skap Live After Dark area. So thanks to you. And Gary, what does Jolly Joshams have for us here?
Shout out to you guys, and shout out to Tyrese Haliburton, was voted most overrated player this year, and now up 2-0 versus the 1 seed. Yeah, but he's also facing an injured Cavs team. But
fair.
Yeah.
And I've been pointing that out all night, but still, nonetheless, he still has to do these things. He scored, I believe he scored 13 points in the fourth quarter tonight. And I mean, for him to dive in and crash the glass on a missed free throw tonight with like 12 seconds left, get his own rebound, pull it out, isolate, and then knock down that 3 to take the 2-0 lead was obviously it was just a massive performance by him. So Jolly Joshams, I agree. That was Haliburton is playing very large right now. So nothing but congratulatory things to say for him. And let's see if Cleveland gets their guys back. Let's see if he and if Indiana can keep it up moving forward. It will be interesting nonetheless, I think, moving forward. So GGT 999 is back in. Many thanks to you. And what do we have from GGT 999?
Why don't you go to the next one? I'm going to look this up. Look up MJ stats at a point guard from 88-89. I will look that up and we'll jump to the next one.
That's going to probably be hard to find, Gary, I think, because he's talking about like when Michael Jordan played as a point guard. Like I think he was maybe jumping as point, like they played him, they slid him from 2 to 1 for like some arbitrary amount of games in that season, where I believe it was like 12 games or something, and he might have averaged a triple double over the course of like 12 or 13 games. But my point, GGT999, is this: like, Michael Jordan never averaged a triple double. Like who cares if he played point guard or two guard? Like, it saying like, oh well, he could have, if he played point guard for a full 82, he would have averaged a triple double. That's kind of disingenuous. And I'm a big Michael Jordan guy. Obviously, he is my GOAT. But so who cares if he was 2 or 1? He never averaged a triple double. Like, Nikola Jokic is the freaking 5. Like, and he averaged a triple double. So like, it doesn't really matter what position you're designated at. Like, he just never averaged a triple double. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, he did for a couple games throughout that season. I'll give you that. I think your original point was, does it make him the GOAT point guard? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, he's just the GOAT. Like, he's just, Jordan's just the greatest no matter what. Like, I don't care what position we're ranking. Going positionless, Jordan is the best. So like, I'm not pushing back on Jordan here, GGT999. I'm just pushing back on the fact that Jordan averaged triple double. Look, Michael Jordan could not have averaged a triple double. Like, I'm sorry. Like, LeBron James has said for years that he could average a triple double if he wanted to. Like, no, you couldn't. So there's very few players that possess the skill set to average whatever amount of points with double-digit assists and rebounds. There is such, for 82 games, as much as I love Jordan, as much as he is the GOAT, and there's likely nothing anyone ever can do to surpass him, he did not possess the skill set to average a triple-double for an 82-game season. He just did it. So,
Skap, I got to disagree with you. LeBron could easily get a triple-double. He could easily get 10 points and 10 flops in a game and 10 complaints to the refs.
And 10 turnovers. So he could maybe do he could do like a quad.
Well, he is the GOAT then after that.
Right.
And is he not the first, what did they say? He's the first player in history to lose a finals in 3 decades, 3 different decades. So that's impressive. Strong
performance. Yep. So thank you very much though, for that question, or for that comment, I guess. And, we do appreciate that. And we have Stefan, or again, Stefan. I'm not quite sure if we can get like a pronunciation breakdown. I would gladly figure that out. But what does Stefan have for us here, or Stefan? Let
us know in the chat so I can read that, so we'll pronounce it correctly. Stefan or Stefan. Okay, we talked about this at the beginning. Do you look at Edwards similar to a Kobe Jordan?
From a gameplay standpoint, sure. Yeah, I could kind of see the similarities, quite frankly. I could see, the style of play. Like, he's a great rim attacker. He has a good jump shot, I think. Really, he doesn't have a mid-range though, which is where Kobe and Jordan really thrived at. He's more of a 3-shooter or a striker to the rim. But nonetheless, he's of that same size and build. He's a little bit smaller than both of them, but he plays the same position. He plays with a similar mentality. He plays on both sides of the ball. He plays with that same arrogance and confidence, and he likes to trash talk. So yes, I do look at the on-court iteration of Anthony Edwards as similar to Kobe and Jordan, but it's above the neck. It's between the ears, so to speak. It's that which separates him from them. And until he can fix that, because that ultimately is what made them great, right? Like, it wasn't just about the athleticism. It was mainly about their mindset, the mentality, the will to continue to get better and to add things every single season to eradicate any potential weakness in their game, and then to just keep coming back hungrier, to compete at the top level every single season. It's that really Anthony Edwards, he needs to grow up and mature. And if he can do that, maybe, just maybe, one day he can be a little more Jordan and Kobe-esque. But until then, I think that he's going to continue to come up short. But we'll see, because he does have a great team around him. Great question, though. And I think we have a couple more actually from Stefan coming up down the way. But John is back first in with, I'm sure, some kind of a snarky little comment for us. Gary, what does John have this time?
John is wanting to know, Skap, since you're a professed movie guy, why is Selma Hayek's dance in From Dusk Till Dawn the greatest movie scene ever? Yes, this is a real question.
John, I would say that's a good question. I personally do not think that it is the greatest movie scene ever. It is, though, to your point, it's one of the craziest scenes ever, and that's one of the most bizarre movies I've ever seen, honestly. For those of you who are just joining us to the Skap Live After Dark Lounge, or for those of you that have been here for a while, I have been talking movies during this segment because I am a big movie guy, and I would suggest that I've seen somewhere around, I don't know, 10,000+ movies. And one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen is From Dusk Till Dawn. If you haven't seen it, Quentin Tarantino is actually an actor in the movie. He's like a co-star with George Clooney, who is like the main lead of the film. And they play these two fugitive outlaw brothers who are on the run after they break out of prison. They have kidnapped this woman. They kill her. Then they take this family hostage. Harvey Keitel plays like the father in this of the family, and he has this adoptive 2 children. And his wife had passed away recently, and him and his adoptive children are like heading past the Mexican border for some kind of a family RV trip. And when they're taken hostage by these 2 fugitive brothers, played again by Quentin Tarantino and George Clooney, just a bizarre film. Anyway, the whole first hour of this movie is the story that I just outlined to you. So that at least 45 minutes, you're just involved in this plot, this storyline of these 2 brothers on the run who have kidnapped this one woman, killed her. Now they've taken this family hostage, and they're forcing the family to get them over the border to get to this bar where they're supposed to meet this person that they have some kind of a drug deal type situation going down with. And the bar is, I believe the bar is called the Titty Twister, I want to say. Anyway, they finally, you're just so involved in this plot, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Salma Hayek emerges as like a stripper at this bar, and she does this very seductive dance, and she has a serpent, like a snake around her during the course of the dance. And at the very end of this thing, she just turns into a vampire and jumps into the somebody, a patron at the bar, and starts biting him and feasting on him. Then all of the bartenders and all these other people in the bar start turning into vampires. So literally the whole first hour of this film is about these 2 fugitive outlaw brothers trying to make it to Mexico. Then out of nowhere, the whole thing just turns into a vampire movie. And then the whole second half of the film is the family, the preacher family, Harvey Keitel and his adopted 2 kids, along with a couple other bar patron humans, along with George Clooney and his brother, trying to fight off these vampires. It is just one of the craziest, most ridiculous, outlandish movies. And it all turns on the Salma Hayek dance. So that is the scene that John has outlined. And boy, I hope I did that movie recap. Some kind of, I hope for those of you who didn't see it, I didn't give it away. It is like a 25-year-old movie, so hopefully those spoiler alerts didn't offend anyone here in the Skap Live After Dark Lounge. But John, great question. But despite the weirdness of that scene, and of course, despite the sexiness of Salma Hayek and everything that she brings to the table, I would give pushback that is, in fact, the best scene in movie history. Anyway, Gary, that was a lot of talking for me. Stefan is back in here. What kind of a question does he have for us here?
And as far as dance scenes go, I think Scott prefers Chris Farley's Chippendales dance scene on Saturday Night Live.
That's fake news, moderator Gary. That is not true. Though that is a funny scene, and I believe the late great Patrick Swayze. Yeah. Speaking of movies, I'm a big Patrick Swayze fan. I love Roadhouse, the original Roadhouse. The remake wasn't terrible, but let's be honest, it was no original. So yeah, shout out to that scene and to Patrick Swayze. But Gary, do we have a pronunciation on Stefan versus Stefan, or do they just?
I'm sorry, I did not
Maybe they
look.
just don't care. Maybe Stefan/Stefan just doesn't care which way we're saying it. I would probably guess it was Stefan if I had to take a guess. So I'm just gonna hedge towards
dropping
Stefan.
the love over here. So
I'm gonna hedge towards Stefan until then we might get some clarification. But because Stefan has a couple coming up, so I just wanted to highlight this. First one is about PEDs and LeBron, which is a bit of a lengthy and loaded question. But
what is your take on LeBron using illegal supplements?
I think there is probably, I've done some videos on this, and I will likely do some more in the future. I think there is just too much damn smoke for there not to be fire somewhere. The most damning bit of news, which you can find, I have a couple of these videos up on my channel. You can look for them and find them there. And I'm probably going to do another big in-depth expose on this in the off season at some point. But one of the most damning bits of evidence was the biogenesis scandal, which occurred in Miami during the tenure of LeBron James playing in Miami. When that whole thing went down, and the head of the biogenesis ring, which is the name is escaping me now, when he was taken down, there was a lot of federal cases which were sealed at the time. A lot of the investigations and documents were sealed at the time. But in recent years, those files, those documents have been redacted or unredacted, and we've seen some more stuff in there. And LeBron's personal trainer had undeniable connectivity and ties to biogenesis. His personal trainer, when he was playing in Miami, was a customer of biogenesis and was receiving illegal supplementation. And not only was that guy the trainer for LeBron, he was LeBron's wife's personal trainer as well. And then finally, I believe LeBron's longtime business partner and confidant, not Rich Paul, but the third guy in command, that his name is also off the top of my head now, as we near 2 a.m. on the East, is escaping me now. But he was also on those ledgers, on the unredacted documents. So there's just too much smoke swirling around LeBron James, and the fact that he's, of course, when he popped that tendon in his foot a few years back, he was, bragging about healing faster than anybody ever. There's just too many instances of this guy overcoming injuries too quickly, playing at this level for this stage, and just the connections to the biogenesis scandal. I have to think that he likely is using. The fact that many people come out and make these allegations towards him, including Kevin Garnett, and there's just no pushback ever, no ramifications. LeBron's never suing any of these people or demanding apologies or denying anything. So my guess would be that LeBron did at some point, or still is, using PEDs. But great question, Stefan. And we've got another one from Stefan. So many thanks to you for coming out here and sponsoring us here in the Skap Live After Dark. Gary, what's this one?
And this is actually this is a great one. Thank you for the 20 piece. This is a great one because when you're listing off all the what ifs yesterday, I had one in my mind that what if LeBron had continued at the trajectory like when he led the Cavs to the finals in 2007, because it was shortly after that he started going downward. At that rate, I was thinking to myself, this guy's going to be the next Kobe, the next Jordan, and they're just going to build around him until obviously he left. If you never saw or heard all the LeBron jock sniffers, and LeBron didn't do all the antics and flopping, and he didn't join D Wade and Bosh in the Heat, where would his ceiling be, and where would you rank him with his skill set?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. So I just want to reread it. If I've never seen or heard all of the LeBron jock sniffers, and LeBron didn't do all the antics flopping, and he didn't join D Wade and Bosh at the Heat, where would his ceiling be, and where would you rank him with his skill set? Well, I think if I'm ranking him by his skill set, he's not very skillful. The guy has a minuscule bag. I like to call him LeBagless. That's one of my favorite personal glosses for him. But he is one of the most efficient scorers just because of his size, speed, athleticism, and ability to attack the basket and get away with, continual offensive fouls and charging and stuff. But anyway, nonetheless, the guy does undeniably, he hits the fast break at an elite level. He attacks the basket at an elite level. And he's whatever. He's a 27 point per game scorer for like 22 straight years. So, I think a lot of the reason I degrade LeBron personally and diminish where his overall rank is because I've never seen him win a challenging title. So a lot of this is speculative of like, what if he won like even a single challenging title? Let's say if LeBron never left Cleveland, never in his entire career left Cleveland and won 2 championships. Now look, if he played 22 years and only got 2, then who knows? Maybe I'm still barely scraping the top 10 with him. But if he played like, although longevity is part of his shtick, I don't know. If LeBron played in Cleveland and his best player maybe was like Mo Williams or something, or Antoine Jameson, if like one of those guys ended up being the best player he ever played with, and he still somehow won 2 championships, I think LeBron would be like, I probably might view LeBron as Hakeem Olajuwon or Nikola Jokic. So I've got both of those guys probably. Hakeem's in my top 5. Jokic is probably undeniably going to get into my top 10. So, and right now I basically have LeBron outside of my top 10. So I think LeBron basically, with all the antics and the tactics that he deployed to steal those 4 rings, actually has wound up hurting his case in my estimation. To me, less would have been more. If he just stayed put and won real titles, then I would think more highly of LeBron. So that's actually a great question, Stefan, and I appreciate you for it.
I've got a bonus to add. He gave a 20 piece, so for that, we're going to add a bonus question. Chris Bosh, 7 years with Toronto, 1 playoff appearance. I believe they lost in the first round. And they were going nowhere. So for Chris Bosh to leave Toronto, I don't think anyone would have had a problem. LeBron should have stayed in Cleveland and recruited Chris Bosh to join that year. I think they likely would have won some championships, and LeBron would have been looked at as a top-tier guy because Kobe had to get Gasol to get over the hump. LeBron I was afraid after the 2007 season, oh goodness, they're going to get somebody like a Chris Bosh to join, and they're going to make like a historic run. I think Bosh joins the Cavs, and if they won championships, I think LeBron would be held as one of the greats. What do you think?
I mean, again, this is another epic what if. Like
right.
But yeah, I mean, yes, I think you can make those cases. I think LeBron, honestly, quite frankly, like I think he did have a path not to be better than Jordan.
But up there in the same breath, legitimately.
Look, I'm saying like Jordan, like he's the best offensive player maybe ever, definitely of his era, and he was the best defensive player at his position for like a decade. So he won 6 titles, was the MVP in all of them. Like he never even got pushed to a game 7 in one of those finals. Like Jordan is just so hard to get to eclipse. But like I think there was a case for LeBron to get to as high as like 2 or 3, but he just did everything the wrong way throughout his career. So, but yeah, great question though, nonetheless.
I guess what I'm asking, don't you think that would have been a better route to just recruit Chris Bosh to sign when he was a free agent? Because no one would have criticized Bosh for leaving Toronto when they're going nowhere. That's my point. Sure.
Yeah, definitely. So or even like Amari Stoudemire or something. Like Amari Stoudemire was free at that time, and Amari Stoudemire was like first team All NBA.
He's great,
but like. Okay, so like get you an Amari Stoudemire, but don't get you a Dwayne Wade and a Chris Bosh.
Right,
like,
exactly.
It's just putrid. So I think LeBron he's just done this to himself. GGT999 is back in. Gary, I think this is referring to his Jordan averaging a triple-double thing. So he said he's just saying agree, and he was kind of trolling. So Thank you, GGT999. It was still a great comment there, and thank you very much for coming in with that. And Stefan is back in here. And what does Stefan have this time, Gary?
To be clear, in reality, screw LeBron. Hashtag Jokic/Kobe.
Stefan, I'm with you 100% on this one. Great comment, and thank you very much.
Well, I got a bonus question here. I'm getting all kind of bonus questions tonight. Skap, what if somebody said to you, this is going to be funny for Skap. What if somebody said, you know what? I think Jokic is better than Kobe. What would you say?
People have said that. I've been in debates. I think I want to say I was on Ticket TV maybe or something. No.
Okay.
I don't know. I was on one of these places I went on, and I was debating. Basically, I was debating Jokic and Shea, and somebody was saying like, "Oh well, Jokic, you have Jokic over Kobe." I personally do not, because look, same thing with the Hakeem Olajuwon, and Tim Duncan came up last night as well. Like Kobe is just too good defensively, and was too good offensively. And Kobe won. Look, yes, Kobe probably had better teams, I guess. They were maybe marginally better, the Pau Gasol teams, than this Jokic team. So, like, if Jokic won 2 with this supporting cast, maybe we could talk. But, like, Kobe not only being, to me, one of the 2 best offensive players ever, being an elite all-time defensive player, and meaning Kobe is tied for the most first-team All-NBA defensive selections ever, while being one of the 2 best offensive players ever, and winning 2 of the hardest titles ever, and winning 5 total. No, like, Jokic is not going above Kobe. There's a couple guys that I just don't think Jokic can get over unless he does like some absolute crazy shit. Like there's some stuff that like if he three-peats with this lineup or something, like just things that are completely unbelievable to think can even happen. Aside from that, there's really, I think Jokic can get above all but about 5 people all time, but Kobe is one of the 5 that I think that he couldn't get over. But Stefan,
okay, I'm about to break your brain, Skap. I'm going to give the people in the chat some good bonus questions here. We all know Kobe is your #1 favorite. You're not saying he's the best. You're not saying he's better than Jordan. You have Jordan ranked over him, but your personal favorite is Kobe. Is Jokic your second favorite? Not the second best, but your second personal favorite.
Yeah, and to be clear with Kobe, yes, he is my favorite athlete by far, one of my favorite people ever. He was, when I started, I talk about like before and after I started doing this channel. Like I had LeBron around 7th on my all-time list before I started this channel. Now I have him like outside of the top 10 because I've been forced to do more research, more evaluation, and more studying of other eras. And accordingly, like before I started this channel, I had Kobe on my 4th on my all-time list before I started doing this. My top 4 in order before I started this channel was Jordan, Kareem, Bill Russell, then Kobe, was my top 4 in order. But after studying, really diving into Kareem and the context of his career and his championships, and looking at the NBA and what the whole league was at the time Bill Russell was playing, his supporting cast, after factoring those things in, Kobe Bryant to me just has gotten better. I have Kobe at 2 all time. So like, the more I've researched, the more evaluation I've done, and the more studying I've done, LeBron just keeps getting worse and Kobe just keeps getting better. But to your question, Jokic, probably at this point, I would say might be my second favorite player. Jordan, so like it was always Kobe and Jordan were my 2 favorites. But I might say at this point, Jokic is encroaching on Jordan. But I would still maybe say Jordan might be up there above you. I don't know. It's close. It's Kobe, and then like Kobe's way above.
So would you say Jordan and Jokic were your 2 and 3? You're not quite sure where you put them. I think that's fair. 3 favorites?
Yeah, that's fair. And that they're also the 3 best players I've ever seen with my own eyes. So yeah. So that is all fair to say.
Have you watched LeBron play in person before?
Yes.
I watched
multiple times, Gary, including in high school.
Oh, wow. I got to tell you, I watched him in 2009 in the Eastern Conference Finals against Orlando. that same year that the Magic advanced and I got to see Kobe, I went to one game in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I'm telling you, LeBron looked like a man among boys. But the thing is, he doesn't look like he exerts all of his effort. It's so odd. What did you think when you saw him in person?
Yeah, I mean, very physically gifted player. And quite frankly, he's a great two-way player. Like when he wants to be. Like he wasn't the best defensive player or the defensive player of the year those years in Miami, but he was a very high leverage defender, and he can still be that. Like I still see him from time to time now do it. Like in the Olympics, like he was playing great defense still at like 40. The problem is he's just a bum that wants to stat pack and box score pack, and he just saves himself oftentimes on defense. So like he's just not a winner. And he plays to the detriment of his team multiple times. Again, all for the glorification of his own massive ego and just box score. So there's no doubt though, from a physical, athletic, or like player standpoint, like he's of course an elite all-time player.
And I hate to say this, especially as a Spurs fan, but the one time I saw LeBron and he resembled Jordan and Kobe, that 2013 Game 7 in the fourth quarter, do you remember how clutch he was? He was aggressive. He was clutch. No choking. He was in Mamba mode. Do you recall that?
Yeah.
Why was he like that game? And then he really hasn't done that since.
I mean, they were playing with house money, in my opinion. Like they won the game. They broke the Spurs in Game 6. Like the Spurs, that's one of the worst choke jobs ever. Like I know you're a Spurs fan, but like, my God,
I agree.
You have a 5-point lead with 24 seconds left or whatever it was in a closeout game at home, and you give up whatever, 2 offensive rebounds, the corner 3, the Bosch 3, the missed free throws. Like that was one of the biggest choke jobs ever. Like they were absolutely broken going into that Game 7 that was then ultimately back in Miami. So Miami already overcame the choke. Like the Spurs out choked them in Game 6, and like LeBron was just kind of playing loosey goosey then in Game 7 would be my estimation. But
that makes sense.
Yeah,
okay, that's actually a great explanation I hadn't thought of.
Sorry, I've got a bug coming in here. Sorry, we've got John back in.
John's back. Yeah, here's money for recapping Dusk. Tarantino died first.
That is true. Tarantino did become a vampire pretty early on, and then Harvey Keitel did and then I think the brother did too. Really, it was just George Clooney and the girl's name is escaping me. The actress's name. She was like a famous actress back in like the early 90s. She went to the red carpet for the Oscars one year with Brad Pitt. She plays, most recently, she's known to be in the show Yellow Jackets. She's like in her 50s now, but the name is escaping me. But she survives, and George Clooney survived. Those are the only two.
Juliette Lewis?
What's that?
Juliette Lewis?
Yes, Juliette Lewis. Thank you. Yes, Juliette Lewis and George Clooney are the sole survivors of the titty twister attack by the vampires, like halfway through the movie. So there you have it, John, and thank you very much. And we've got Stefan back in. Now we do have clarification. Stefan, thank you very much for the super chat for this. That was not necessary. You could have you didn't need to send a super chat to correct me on how to say your name. You could have just sent that in the live chat to Gary or something. But it is Stefan, not Stefan. So we do have, like, Stephon Marbury is the way that it is pronounced. So Stefan, thank you for the clarification. And that's good news that you did that, because Stefan is back in right after with Chow Sonnen claims, which is he's just backing up what I'm talking about. That Kevin Garnett made those allegations that LeBron was on PEDs. But to Stefan's point here on this one, Chow Sonnen, who is a former MMA guy and who is a self-professed doper in his own right, like he went in on LeBron. Like he absolutely dropped the dime on LeBron and said, like they were strong comments. Like not only did he say LeBron was on PEDs, but that he knows LeBron's PED guy. He knows the supplier. He knows exactly what LeBron is taking. And there was absolutely no ramifications for Chael Sonnen doing that. Like no apologies were issued, no like legal action by LeBron, like nothing. So yeah, that is pretty damning. Like if basically someone's saying I'm a cheater and I've achieved like one of the main feathers in my goat cap by cheating,
Right.
and like that you just say nothing about it. That's pretty, I think that's pretty damning in its own right, Stefan. So great point, Stefan, and I will not mispronounce your name anymore. And finally, we have Giuseppe DeRosa, and thank you very much for sliding in here to the Skap Live After Dark Lounge and sponsoring us here. Gary, what do we have here from Giuseppe?
And our last super chat of the night before we start wrapping up. And no, you don't have to worry about this happening, brother. What if Pacers or an underdog wins the chip? Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I would give that like a 0% chance. Like, honestly, it's like, I never say never, but I wouldn't even say like a 0.1% for the Pacers to win the championship. But that would be, look, with the Thunder, with a historically relevant Thunder team running around this NBA this year, with the last year's historically relevant Boston Celtics, who are defending champions, running around, with one of the 10 best players probably ever, Nikola Jokic, running around out here at the same time, with the Warriors and playoff Jimmy teaming with Steph Curry. We'll see what happens with that injury that he sustained tonight. Like, I don't see really any way that a team like the Pacers could win the championship this year. But that, Giuseppe, would certainly be something. That's for sure. What if that happened? That would be pretty crazy. I think just if the Nuggets win this year, that would be crazy. And that's with a player like Nikola Jokic, or like even if the Knicks win, I think that would be insane, like an insane upset. And they've got, like, to me, the Knicks have a really, really good team. So I can't believe John is obviously starting back in here. John is up to his old antics here in the lounge, sliding in as we're trying to slide out with more super chats. So John, what do we have here from John? Thank you, John.
Over here, he's acting like, hey, I want to be generous and give Skap a donation, but the truth is he's just flexing and he's trying to make everyone in the chat feel inferior here. I'm only 6'4", 325 strongman lifter with a wrestling, BJJ, and Muay Thai background. I love just 5 minutes in the cage with LaFlop. Who would watch? Well, I don't think it'd be 5 minutes. It'd probably be more like 25 seconds before you have them tapped out.
I agree. If correctional officer John here, who we mistakenly thought was in prison on night one of the Skap Lounge, which he is actually a correctional officer, and so I would not doubt that John is actually a bad man and might actually possibly, I believe that he could be 6'4", 325 pounds. So yes, if he has a Brazilian jiu-jitsu background and Muay Thai and wrestling, I think, yes, with LeBron, with the flopping that he does, with, like, limbs that don't even actually touch him. Like, you see like hands like just flail right past his face and catch nothing but air. And it looks like he's been hit by a sniper in the stands. So I don't think LeBron would last 5 minutes with John here, but John, I would watch for sure. If you could set that up or make that work, I would totally be down for watching that. Hell, I would broadcast that. We could do it on Skap Live, or I could just do it from whatever. I would be the ring. I could be like the ringside announcer, maybe even too. Like we could do something like that. Let's start working on it, John. I'm down. And finally,
let me ask a follow-up question. The big trending topic, and we need Skap's opinion because you haven't commented on this. There's a trending topic going along the internet the last week or two. Who would win in a fight out of one silverback gorilla versus 100 men? Based off of what John just said in the spirit of combat sports, who wins, Skap? A silverback or 100 men?
I would have to know more about it, what the 100 men, like, who they are. Like, are they John like physique people, or are they Tyrese Haliburton type physique people, like I don't mean to shade Tyrese Haliburton, but I'm just thinking about how slight a frame that guy is and how somehow he got into the paint tonight to rebound his own missed free throw. Like nothing drives me crazier. Like in football, I'm a big football fan. I hate turnovers in the NFL. Like when my team turns the ball over, my biggest pet peeve in the NBA is actually not turnovers in basketball, but giving up offensive rebounds is my biggest pet peeve. On giving up second chance points. And to take that to the next level, when you do not get the rebound on a missed free throw, it is like the ultimate, like no to me. So the fact that the Cavaliers not only gave up an offensive rebound, which led to the game-winning three-point shot off of an offensive rebound miss, but that they let that skinny, spindly Tyrese Haliburton get in there and get his own miss, the shooter's miss. Like that's basketball 101. Like put a man, box the shooter out. Just inexcusable. So I need more about what's the composition of these 100 men, like, are they like burly, like physically imposing men, or are they not? Either way, a silverback gorilla, like I feel like probably I'm taking a silverback gorilla in that. I think, because look, I've been in a couple of fights in my life, and it's hard fundamentally. You can't, like, all 100 men aren't going to be able to attack the gorilla at once, right? Like you're going to only be able to throw like 5 or 6 guys at the gorilla at any one time. So like, I think so really we're not asking 1 versus 100. We're talking like 1 versus like 5 or 6, right? Like the gorilla would probably like eliminate the advantage of the men to some degree. And I think probably I would take the gorilla. But I'll have to look more into this. I have no idea what you're talking about. But yeah, sure, it's an interesting premise.
What about 100 silverback gorillas versus Chuck Norris?
For sure, I'm taking Chuck Norris in that one, Gary.
All right, we got B Twix with a 5-piece. Just admit it, Skap. When Harry Met Sally is the greatest rom-com of all time.
Wow, B Twix, that's a great comment. I like basically every movie genre there is, except I'm not a big horror movie fan. And I know actually moderator Gary is. I actually do not like horror films. So that's like really the only genre I don't like. My wife actually likes horror movies. And she hates rom-coms, whereas conversely, I love rom-coms, B Twix. So you're barking up the right tree here by asking me about rom-coms. I do like When Harry Met Sally. It's a solid choice, but for me, not my favorite personal rom-com. To me, the gold standard rom-coms for my money, Betwixt, there's 2 that really come to mind. Matthew McConaughey's How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, love it. And then this is one that maybe not a lot of people know about, Crazy Stupid Love. Maybe even to me eclipses How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. If you guys that are joining us here in the Skap Live After Dark that are still here at 2:12 a.m., which I have to get out of here and go to bed. But if you guys have not seen the movie Crazy Stupid Love, great flick. Ryan Gosling and Steve Carell star in this film. Julianne Moore is in it, along with her name is escaping me now. The 2-time Oscar award winner, the young girl with the red hair, who's always
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone, yeah, Emma Stone. So Emma Stone is in it as well. It is a tremendous film. Ryan Gosling plays this like Casanova ladies' man who takes Steve Carell under his wing because he's recently been separated from his wife. He's never really dated any other women other than his wife, and he's like in his late 40s or whatever. So Gosling takes him under his wing, and then lo and behold, Gosling ends up kind of dating his daughter, played by Emma Stone. Terrific film. It's a funny film. It's a thought-provoking film at times. It's poignant. I love it. I love the ending of it. I don't want to give away too much more of it, but you guys need to check it out if you haven't seen it. Crazy Stupid Love. And
we're closing out in the last closing out comment. Ryan Gosling, greater action star than Vin Diesel.
For sure.
He even does rom-coms.
I am a huge Ryan Gosling fan. Ryan Gosling is one of my favorite actors of all time, actually. He's terrific, I think. A very underrated actor. He's a terrific action star. I love Ryan Gosling, and I love his work, which is probably some of the reason why I love Crazy Stupid Love so much. But great question, Beachwix. Great question from all of you guys. Many thanks to everybody who are still here. We still have about 200 people in the Skap Live After Dark Lounge tonight. It was another fun night, night 5. We'll see. My voice has been waning lately. The games have been so exhilarating. I haven't been able to take a night off. So that's why I just keep coming on. I suspect tomorrow night might be the same, but I'm not sure. I don't want to commit to anything at this time, but we do have 2 big games tomorrow. Boston back in action, trying to avenge their game 1 loss. We have the Thunder trying to avenge their game 1 loss. So we will see if we will light up the Skap Live Lounge for a 6th consecutive night tomorrow night. But until then, everyone, thank you so much for being here yet again. Gary, thank you so much for being here again for night 5. And perhaps we will see you again tomorrow. But until then, guys, have a great night and stay real to the NBA and stay real to Skap Live. Thank you guys so much.